New York. We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. We're good. We're on now?
We are on.
Okay.
Been a while.
We're back again. Been a while.
Yeah. Busy month.
Mikey's still a coach. Trying to convince him not to.
Still busy.
Still coach. We've been out for a while. Mikey's been busy.
Oh, yeah.
It's Mikey's fault why we're,
I know. My bad, man.
I mean, he has to be a dad.
All right.
I have a kid.
You can't just watch yourself.
I know. I told him, let's just let Bella coach. Just let her. I mean, they're practically the same age, right? They'll listen to each other.
Basically.
She'd just be like, go kick the ball.
She gives instructions.
There you go.
See? She does. She does actually give instructions.
Yeah?
She tells them, you got to get the ball in the net.
Really?
Yeah, she really tells them that. It's the funniest thing.
So we've missed quite a few things, and a lot of things have arose, but there's one thing that I wanted to talk about because it's fucking fascinating and I didn't know, and I want to know if you know. Do you know the story of Eric Cantona? Cantona.
No.
Eric Cantona.
No.
You don't? But you're a Man U fan. You're a die-hard Man U fan. Eric Cantona.
No.
How do you say his last name? Cantona?
Why am I blanking on his
name?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, I know the story where he basically...
Okay, so let me say this real
quick.
I didn't know this guy fucking karate kicked a fan.
Oh, yeah.
So I was watching. Just randomly came upon Manchester. I just didn't know. I know he did something. So I knew the elements of he did something bad.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was an extent to
He jumped over that thing and karate kicked the hell out of that guy.
Yeah, but there was more a little bit. I don't know if you know the rest of it. There's more into it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. I saw the clip. I was like, holy shit. He was just walking away. Some guy heckled him hard.
Yeah.
Said some shit. He went into him and literally just fucking kicked him, punched him, just but no one really stopped him. But he kind of fell off the little ledge and then then people came and tried to stop it. So whatever, that was that. And then I guess he was banned for the season, right? If I remember correctly. But I didn't know that. Okay, so I didn't know the part when he went to court for that.
Yeah.
And they were trying to give him jail time, but in that time in the UK or whatever, they were like, no, it's not that big of a deal. So we're just going to give him probation.
Yeah.
So it was all right. And I was watching it, and apparently the guy that got hit also went to court, right?
Uh-huh.
And this part was insane. I didn't know. I was like, all right, this guy's going to just talk and say his business. And no, apparently he got hit with getting banned from the stadium for life. Some other hard shit of possibly jail or even worse than Cantona. But when he heard all that, he fucking went nuts. He started choking out his lawyer. He started fucking trying to fist fight the cops. I was like, wait, hold on. What the fuck? This is who? I was like, okay, I think this guy needs to be in jail.
Yeah, for real.
I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
So apparently he was just a Nazi heckler that they were saying. And I'm like, I didn't know this big part of that story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll give you the reason why Eric Cantona should have done what he did. Because this guy literally, there's photos. You know how they do in court, they draw
Yeah.
They drew the fucking guy choking out his lawyer. I was like, what? I was like, this happened? I was like, of course this guy doesn't deserve to be in the fucking stands. He's going to just choke anyone.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was the most interesting part of the story that I didn't know. It was even deeper than I didn't know it.
Yeah, I remember hearing all that happen, but it was just, I don't ever remember hearing the rest of it. All I heard was that he was banned from Cantona was suspended for at least half the season or something like that, or a good amount of the games. I can't remember exactly.
It was just the rest of that season.
Yeah,
I think it was just started or something like that.
Yeah, I remember hearing to that extent, but then after that honestly, that's all it was. It's just he kicked somebody, and I think that's why they probably don't even mention it anymore because they figured out who the guy really is and how he is. So they're just let's just say he got suspended and we just leave it at that.
Right? Because it kind of reminds me of the what's his name, Ron Artest.
Oh,
when the Pacers kind of that, but that was a brawl that happened with the whole stadium kind of thing.
Insane.
When I was watching this one, it was just Cantona and that guy for a good minute, and then everyone just parted and like try to stop it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the story, I was like, what? I was like, this guy has to be gone. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He choked out his lone lawyer and saying like, you didn't do your job. Like I'm supposed to be a free man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man, this shit. But
it was
I wanted to talk about that one real quick because I thought it was like the funniest thing that I didn't know about that story. Like again, I knew he did something that I just didn't go to that extent. Finally, thanks to YouTube for all that and the deep content that I was watching. But yeah, wanted to start off with that.
He was legit too.
He was good.
No, he was amazing.
No, he was good.
No, he was.
I mean,
he just his problem was
he was like Zlatan times 10 to an extent where he would flip like he just did.
Yeah, he was good. Like no, he could have been. No, I mean he is, but I mean I think if he didn't have the attitude problem that he had, that a lot of people said, he'd be like way up there with the best. Because he is. We only see like few, I guess, highlights of him. Because he only really played a few years, and then that was kind of it.
Yeah, but that.
But yeah, I remember all that. He is a crazy guy though.
No, I remember when I noticed him, it was from the Nike commercials.
Yeah,
and then I knew who he was. Again, obviously, you're more a Manchester fan than I am.
That's why when you said the name, I was like, I think it's Cantona.
It's Cantona. I guess, right?
I don't know. I hear,
but he's French.
Yeah, he's French.
So how do you ever say it?
I hear different versions.
Cantona, right? A lot of people say Cantona.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fucking insane that happened.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk about it because I saw it recently and I was just like, wow, the guy that got kicked was a fucking crazy, apparent like Nazi hooligan fan that was at the stadium, and he got to him.
Yeah.
But he fucking literally karate kicked his ass.
Yeah.
It only got probation, and the other guy got more, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
Because they said he incited the violence. He went to go look for it.
Oh well, pretty sure.
So
he
that's
did.
that. No, that's what happened. That's how they did the court. That's why he got upset. And like I said, he choked. He was choking out his lawyer, and the cops in the court had to stop him.
Jeez.
I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure you got like 10 years right now. I'm just doing this. Like, there has to be more. Like. That part of the story just fascinates me, but yeah, that was that. That one.
What's happened since our last talk?
Well, since we're on the Manchester thing, they got the new jerseys. Like Continent, there's a reason why I brought that up because they were speaking on the jerseys like.
Oh, the old school ones?
They were represent. You saw them, right?
Yeah,
they represent him like, the collar up, collar down, because there's a collar now on the jerseys.
Well, they've had a collar before,
right?
Not as this one. They actually went
like an old school collar,
went the retro collar.
Yeah.
As recently now, the modern collar is more
like just thinner
and all that. Yeah.
Like sleek.
Yeah.
All right. And this one was like, yeah, we see it. But then I was like, Arsenal has it too. I was like, all the Adidas jerseys are gonna have it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I get what they're doing. I get it. But that's what I'm saying. When they were throwing his name around, I was like, Continent. I was like, let me just look him up again.
Yeah.
And then I came across this fucking thing again. I was like, wait, that happened?
Yeah.
that fucking happened?
That was crazy.
Shit, my God.
I'm surprised you didn't know about that.
No, like again, I knew the small elements of like, okay, he did something bad into the fan, like, but I didn't know the details. And then I was just like, yeah, who the fuck is that guy? Why is he in the stands? Like, what? That happened?
Yeah, that was insane.
But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, I mean, what is going on with Manchester? I think we're all leaving. I think I'm leaving. I think my boy's leaving.
Good.
Everyone's left.
Good.
What's going on? Did you see his rules?
No, I haven't seen any. I haven't been following up on anything. I'm just waiting basically for this season to.
So apparently, your new coach has rules. Do you want to know some of the rules?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So you can't fuck with your own chef. 1, you can't drink during the week of the games. 2, 3, if you have an issue, you got to talk to me first before you talk to your agent.
Okay.
Then the fourth one, I think it was 5, but the fourth one was like, if you're late, you're not gonna play the first minutes of the game. You're not gonna play. Like, I don't care who you are. You're just not gonna play. You're late.
Yeah.
So I think some of them are pretty dumb. Like the chef thing. Am I not supposed to eat at home?
Well, there's certain
like you're 90% of the time you're home.
There's some clubs that I know when you go training, you obviously maybe you either come early, have a meal there, and then you go train, and then after training, what a lot of clubs I've seen have done, they tend to have their lunch there. Like you eat your meals there, which is fine. But I guess dinner time is dinner time. I guess at that extent you can probably eat whatever you want, but I doubt these guys are really going crazy with what they eat at dinner time. But that doesn't seem to me. That seems like I think Tottenham does that. I think Tottenham was doing that for a little bit with Mourinho or somebody, because when we were watching when they had their show, you saw a lot of them sitting there eating, and then someone would leave. But I think somebody came in and they said, no, everyone has to eat now. Here, you can't leave and eat. I think it's something along those bases.
Maybe that's what they mean. I mean, the way they put it, maybe you're right.
Yeah, I think it's basis on when we're done with training, you eat here, and then you can leave, for lunch or whatever.
Right.
What was the other one? You can't drink or whatever.
You can't drink during the week of the game.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I guess some have a drink. I don't know.
They're not talking about splurging and getting drunk. Like, here they are. Like, this is
players will be dropped off. Players will be dropped if they're like, okay, that's typical. Okay, players will not drink alcohol. Okay, whatever. Players will eat what is prepared by the club. Personal chefs banned.
That's interesting.
That's an interesting one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you mean by banned? I can't. So I'm not supposed to eat when I get home?
I think, I don't know, unless some of these guys actually get a personal chef for home, like they pay enough.
Yeah, I mean, Cristiano doesn't make his own meals, or some guys don't.
Yeah, players will share complaints with Ten Hag.
The body mass one I get, you gotta be fit.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. But I think
the personal chef, man. I mean, unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo or any of those other fucking high-paying guys, I doubt you're having a personal chef. Most of these guys,
right? I mean, they can afford it. Most of them.
I'm pretty sure most of these personal chefs are probably half of them are their moms. They tend to do that. A lot of these guys have their
moms.
Depends
on the age.
Yeah,
if they're like 25, 26 and older, have a family, they'll probably have a chef for the wife.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Who knows? That's I don't know. That's up in the air.
I mean, they're not harsh, but they're kind of like, wait, what? Like, we get it if you're late, but like dropped in what way? You're again. Am I assuming the whole game? Because what if you're five?
Yeah,
what if three starters are late?
Yeah, I want to say you're dropped from the game, meaning you probably won't even be in the lineup.
But then it gets to a point where like, okay, like I have an obligation to do something that's I don't know if you saw the Juventus special with Cristiano, the last one.
No,
All or Nothing. Those All or Nothing ones. We've seen them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen anyone in those shows that they're obligated. Hey, you got to go do one of our ads like for the team.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like during practice because you're at the facility.
Yeah.
So if you're late at that time, it's like what? I mean, I had to go do an obligation for the club. How am I in trouble for this if I'm late?
I'm sure
I'm not saying they're like. I'm not saying they're not on time and they're not organized. But like, if it takes a little bit longer than usual, it's like, wait, what? Like,
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be involved to an extent on like discussing those things within the organization with the people that do all those things, like the organizers that do all that kind of stuff.
Okay. I mean, that's a good coach to do that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure if he comes in and says, "Look, if anybody," I'm pretty sure he's gonna. Hey, I need to speak to the what do they call those people? The
PRs.
Yeah, I got to speak to that department.
Yeah, the PRs, the marketing.
The marketing. I got to speak to the marketing department, and then I'm pretty sure he's gonna meet with them. Like, if there's any meetings that involve or any scheduled appointments for our players to market whatever, you do it after our practice between this time and this time.
Let me ask you this, because I think it's how do I put this? I think I've asked you a question or one of the coaches that you played against, and it kind of like just like not what's the word? Kind of puts it side by side, parallel to it almost. So when I remember the ball park coach. I remember like it was like I don't know, a couple of years. I was like, oh, dude, you guys have Instagram now. I was like, who runs your Instagram? He's like, I have no clue. They take care of that, right?
Yeah.
So would you think as a coach in the professional world, at this caliber, this height, this level, how deep would he? Not saying waste his time, but how deep would he go into that the club, the president, the owners would even allow him to be like, hey, whoa, hold on, we'll take care of this. You're the coach. Like, does that kind of interrupt? Because I mean, you got to be. Let's be honest with yourself. You got to be like, I don't want to take care of this. because it's not my business. But I think we should be on the same page without me saying anything if I put my rules down, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be involved in the
It's
sense.
like telling me I'm going to do this without telling me I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I think what he's obviously doing head on right now is obviously structuring what he wants and already
He's building his culture.
Yeah, and building an environment of what he wants in that form and setting in that organization. I don't think he's gonna be fucking heckling them like every other week. Hey, you can't be posting this or can't be. He's gonna tell them dead on right now, like, hey, this is how it is, and that's it. You know.
So that's what I'm saying.
This is the one and only time I'm speaking about this.
Okay, that's probably it, right?
That's
the
it.
one time. Okay,
Yeah.
So it just takes one time.
I'm thinking that's what's gonna what he's doing, just to implement everything he wants there, and then that's it. The other stuff like that he has to be on top of. Obviously, he will be making sure all that's done, but the minor things on that's why those people are there. But I'm pretty sure he's giving them their standards and rules of, okay, this is how I want it. This is what it is. That's it. Don't come up to me ever about this again. And that's it. And they just move on about it. Some of, obviously, you're going to get some in there that are like, I don't like that. I don't like this change. And they're going to complain. But I'm sure wherever he was coming from, he already had people like that. He can easily bring those people in and say, hey, look, you want to come and live in England for a little while and do this over here to give you a job opportunity at a higher club? I mean, not saying Ajax isn't a higher club, but it's like you're talking about two different, I guess, pay salaries in terms of what one club brings in as opposed to the other club.
Oh, yeah,
brings
for
in.
sure. I mean,
so I'm sure he's bringing in people that he's had over there and maybe in other places that are elsewhere and all that.
I gave you one.
I know.
For both of us.
Oh.
So.
I just put it.
It's like too
I
far
just
to reach.
put it there.
Just in case I want one. I know I have this, but
I just put it there. I was just like,
can't reach. Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, that was just like fucked up your thought. But go ahead.
No,
I get what you're saying. Like different calibers of everything.
I think that's what it generally is, because even with the,
but
the staff and all that stuff.
But like I said earlier, like I mean, as a coach, you don't want to spend a long time on that.
No.
So again, does that really? Like, I'm not saying, hold on, I'm not saying everyone's perfect. We already know that. And I'm not saying times are going to be exact. But even though he said it once and say I'm marketing, say, again, I'm practically out of marketing here. But you're coaching. It's like, all right, Mikey, like, I had to get so-and-so in this commercial or this ad. I mean, it just took a little bit longer because we thought he was going to get his line right away, but it just took a bit longer. I mean, who's at fault? Like, can you really drop him from that? But like, hey, I know you told us. But I don't want it to be a thing where it's interfering with your coaching, because you're the coach and that's what you're here for. But we also got to run a business. Now, if it takes a bit longer, again, the next time I would probably be like, all right, we got to move the time difference now.
Yeah,
change it. But
I'm sure
at that moment, like, do you drop Rashford because, like, dude, he did a Christmas special for us? Are you gonna really drop him for this important game because he was 10, 15 minutes late? But that's on us.
Pretty sure he still would. The thing is,
It's tough, huh?
Yeah, it's tough because, again, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if it happens and that happens. Someone's gonna joke about that eventually, like throughout the season. Oh, someone got dropped because he was wiping the table. He spilled some coffee and he was just late. He was wiping the table. He's gonna say something stupid like that. Yeah. But when it comes to something like that, I'm sure that there's gonna be a scheduled set to say, look, anything related to this has to be done after practice, after our time. So, like I said, like, I'm sure they have a schedule. Like, hey, you got to be here at this time for morning workouts. Then from this time to this time is team training. Then from this time to this time is team lunch. And then from this time to this time is team film or whatever. And then from this time or after team film is, okay, you're free to go. And then that's your free time to do whatever the hell it is you want.
I totally get that spot. I guess.
But I'm saying, but that's what I mean. That schedule that's set daily. That marketing team is going to have to figure out, obviously, or whatever it is that they're going to do extra to prevent them from being late is going to have to now be done after that schedule.
I guess this is going to like more as like a question is, does the club, how do I put this, orbit around the head coach for when he has demands this high like that with these type of rules? Like saying like, okay, last year we had Solskjaer, just say Solskjaer. He was more of a nice guy. He's like, all right, cool. I get what you guys are doing. I mean, if you're late, like he's a nice guy, right? And they kind of were like, oh, okay, well, I guess we can take a little bit more time. But at this new coach where he's like more hard headed, strict, it's like, does the club, again, we don't know details until we talk to somebody like at these clubs, but do you think you as a coach would want to be orbited around like, okay, This is how I want things structured. We're going to succeed from the maintenance team in the cafeteria to the cooks, making sure the food is on time. Like, do you feel like as a club, just again, I'll kind of ask you this so it won't sound confusing. From perspective of the club, this is your club, you're a Man U fan, right? Would you want that coach to be orbited, like that club to be orbited around that coach? And then the other question would be, you as the coach, would you want that you want to come in and, all right, everything's kind of on me. Like, I have to build this culture if they're allowing me to, because that's part of my contract now.
Yeah.
Saying, like, you know, there's coaches where, like, this is what I want if you're gonna sign me for the coach, right? I want this, and this, these demands, and that's a contract.
Yeah.
So how do you see both sides?
I say, well, for me, yeah. I mean, because if you're coming in, especially to a club that just the structure just kind of just been falling apart for the last X amount of years, and if you go back to when Ferguson was around, people tend to forget because again, the media, there was no social media, none of that. But everyone forgets the fact that he had some strict rules also.
Yeah, no, I remember you were telling me.
People don't remember.
Yeah,
you had to actually have an appearance.
Yeah.
His strict thing was appearance.
Yeah.
You couldn't go do your hair crazy. You couldn't wear
white cleats.
You couldn't wear white cleats. You couldn't wear colorful cleats. You had to wear these colored cleats. You had to show up in a suit. You had to do all of these, like everything. He had a standard already, and when that standard is followed, that culture and environment is there. Everybody becomes accustomed to it. So anybody that comes in, it's like, obviously it's new for them, but everybody's so used to that you get everybody to back you up with it. Then everybody starts to believe in what you're trying to do. So it's good what he's trying to do. Obviously he's going to get some pushback from some people because again, the last, 6 some years, whatever, since Ferguson has left, it has changed. There's been a different dynamic there and there's been a different environment there. And a lot of people have been putting their hands here and there for a lot of different opinions, different things to now it's like, okay, he's got a structure, he's got an idea, which is great because that's what you want for a club. You want it ran, as a professional environment as much as possible. And for him to do this, it shows, okay, he has a mindset, he's got a goal in mind, and it has to come from the bottom all the way to the top. And if it doesn't, then obviously this is why we haven't been successful because we're being lenient on certain things or allowing certain things that we're not holding everybody accountable to the certain standard that this club was generally believed in and but was built from, So when they do stuff like this, obviously everyone's like, whoa, this is crazy. But we got to remember again, this is social media now that we finally get to see these things. For all we know, this is as lenient as possible from some other clubs. Yeah. Because from what I remember, the one that I remember the Bayern Munich coach, the one that retired and then came back, I think it was before Pep, I can't remember.
He was the older one, right?
The old dude, when he came back and they saw his list of events, everybody thought that guy was batshit crazy. Yeah. But it was like, no, this guy made sense on what he's trying to do. It makes sense of what he's trying, what he's done. And if you look back at everything he's done, it made sense as to why he's done it.
And I'm glad. Well, interesting. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. And here's why. I was watching that comedian Andrew Schultz. Mm-hmm. And he had a great concept on his podcast, which I think applies to a lot of things now. And I understand where you're coming from. Like I said, I've seen it too. Like, again, being around the game and seeing the past, obviously watching it grow from when Cristiano was there with Ferguson. Because I feel like when Ferguson was leaving, I think times were drastically changing. As much as I don't want to blame and always use this excuse for everything in life now and almost every concept, but it's kind of true. Yes, it's social media and the platforms that are around businesses now. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about the culture now to the culture when those two coaches, Ferguson and that guy from Munich, you have to really say, look, we understand in the past 40 years or whatever X amount of years that it worked because the time era was perfect for that. Mm-hmm. It was timing was everything for that. And the way that guy Schultz say, it's like now these businesses are complaining that we're like, well, we've been doing it for 50 years. Yeah. But the 50 years that you've done has been working that way that it's drastically changed where you have to adjust to the times.
Yeah.
So it's hard for a team like United to adjust. Again, we don't know in details, but from the news and from what we see, the culture of these players are a lot different, obviously, from the past 10 years. Even when I again, as much as we make fun and we joke around off the podcast, I understand where Ronaldo's coming from and why he wants to leave.
Yeah.
I was going to get to that in a little bit, but now it's kind of entwining. Because he came in, thought, he's like, okay, like, I remember Man U.
Yeah.
Ferguson days. I remember this. And he talks amazing about the club. He loves the club.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he thought when he would come back in, it would be similar.
Yeah.
But obviously different because he knows he's grown throughout 15 years of his career. So I'm pretty sure once he was experienced, he was like, what the fuck? This is not the same Man U that I was in. Obviously, when Ferguson and the time I was here, this is something completely different. These clubs are run by, I think, if you know, like owners from the U.S. now. Is that, all right. There's like, so like, in the culture is different now that I would even expect Ronaldo to understand. But I get where he's coming from as a player wanting to win things. I get that. But now I'm not trying to give Man United an excuse, but what I'm my point here is that certain coaches that are in the past years are going to either have to adjust or try their best to keep those senses, because you can't tell a kid that's 25 has, again, this is stupid to even say, has X amount of followers, has these brand deals before he's even won anything, to tell him, hey, you're dropped. Why? I was 20 minutes late. I don't care. You're dropped. That would work 15 years ago when Ronaldo was playing, because no one gave a shit about followers. No one gave a shit about these other things that were part of soccer, that was entwined with soccer, that actually paid them. Because those players at that time were like, this is my income. If I play good and I'm a top star, I'm going to get these other accolades because of playing the game.
Yeah.
So like you said, like, oh, I want you to this, and this for yourself. Like, okay, they're going to follow through. Now it's like, yo, like, I'm me. I can be me, but, and this is funny that I'm saying this because it's going to get into like later on with the MLS stuff.
Yeah.
With Bale and all that and all those players. In Europe, they're going to be harsh on you. They're going to fucking like rip you apart in the media, saying, oh, he doesn't care. Like, they tear you apart.
Yeah.
But now I got to a point where like, yo, like, they even said it, like, Ronaldo doesn't have to, if he really wants to win champions and just want to play, he doesn't have to get paid. And that, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with, like, yo, Ronaldo, you're my favorite player in the world. If you want to go to any team, don't even charge them. But you want to get paid because you have an image, and you're literally the number one person followed in the world, and that is money to the club, and like that is money. So that's implemented in some of these players that are barely like coming up out of the first year, and like all of a sudden they got brand deals, they got this. They're kind of at a level where that player 15 years ago didn't exist. Meaning like, oh, I'm gonna get this young kid who literally had an amazing year. He came out of the academy, Gavi, bro. He's getting this, he's getting that, he's getting that. But if you see Xavi at that year when he was like that, Xavi wasn't getting that.
Yeah, no.
Xavi was just getting, you're gonna get played, you're gonna be playing, you're on the first team, and you gotta do your best to be at that level.
Yeah.
But he wasn't thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say, is that these coaches, it's gonna be tough. I mean, if you get to that point, I'm sure you will. It's to like, I have to deal with more than just soccer now. I have to deal with cultures, like in a sense, like, again, that's why Tuchel wanted to leave, because the way he was dealing with Neymar. Yeah. Neymar literally is that. What I'm talking about is Neymar. That's Neymar. Yeah. This is Neymar's culture.
Yeah.
This is who Neymar is bringing into this new era of type of soccer, where it's like, okay, if Neymar can play and get that type of money, and you can see the difference. Oh, well, he hasn't won Champions League, and you see why. Because the difference is like, okay, if you care more about this, it's gonna be harder to get the actual fucking trophies that you want because you're caring about that.
Yeah.
And that's the culture. So it's like, it's one of those things that's like a tug and pull like type of deal where it's like, fuck, some of these players that I get, I hope they're all about winning, like Cristiano.
Yeah.
And I just think it has to do with a lot of the current players now, how they're growing into this game, where they're either all about playing, making sure that's what's getting them through where they want to go, as opposed to like, yo, you haven't won shit, but you have 300 million followers. We're going to give you this, and this.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, did I win something?
Yeah.
I won something in life because I was able to succeed in this type of accolades.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Again, as I was saying, I just think as I'm watching more and just like dissecting shit from just like different concepts of cultures and businesses and like the way just things are run in the world, like, again, a lot of things are being affected by social media and how you run this and how you run that. that I kind of look back at it now as I was watching this like Manchester saga of like all these players are leaving and it's not the same team anymore, and like they're constantly talking about it every other day on ESPN FC and like other. So it's like, all right, let me know what the fuck's going on. So like that's what I grasped out of it, where it's like we're dealing in an era where some of these players get to a point, and I think in Europe, again, this is going to lead into my MLS talk, hopefully sooner or whatever, but I just feel that certain players in Europe are getting to a point where they had enough of this fucking pressure and criticism that is really getting to a point where like I'm being successful in a way that you don't like because of the traditions that the media is still there. So for example, like if the media, let's just say a percentage, I could be wrong on these numbers, but the percentage of the media that covers them, talks about them, are in the 50 age group and older, where like, oh, we remember Ferguson, we remember these times. It's like, all right, but you're talking about players that are coming up in this new era where the young journalists that are in their 30s kind of understand, because even that journalist can get a Nike deal of something or some type of deal of like, oh man, you have this many followers, you're gonna get the same thing as this footballer. But you know, get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm just trying to say is like, coming from your perspective as a coach, how do you see it as this noise is just growing? Because I kind of feel like it is. I feel like looking out in, like, I just feel like these players, I kind of understand now, like more of these players are dealing with more than just soccer than ever, where it's like, it literally ends up on them. Like, how do you want to deal with it? Do you really cancel the noise and say, fuck that type of money, I just want to play soccer? Or do you like really weigh the options? Like, well, this shit would help me in the future, and if I have a family now, like this actually would bump this and bump that, and like, okay, like I got to kind of balance all this stuff. So like, as a coach, how does these coaches that are older gonna deal with these type of players? Again, the Mourinho and Pep is doing a decent job, I think. Still, obviously hasn't won champions, but like I'm not saying that affects anything. Ancelotti is still there. Those guys, again, I don't know if, again, I'm just trying to see, like, have they tried to adjust to it, or do they have, like, in some of these clubs possibly have a better, like, culture that helps them? You know what I mean? So, like, how do you, I guess, basically, how do you see it? That's how I see it now. I see it from the players to the coaches to the clubs to the business to the accolades. Like, that's how I'm starting to see all this, why it's going to lead me on to the MLS talk.
The way I see it, and I think it all comes down to it, we forget at the end of the day the coach has more power than some people think, as much as we may believe that they don't. Well, some do to a certain extent, and some clubs have more power than the coach to a certain extent. Right. Like I said, vice versa, things like that. So a lot of it does come down to how well can they manage these players. One, how well can they manage these players in that aspect of the outside stuff, and two, how well can they manage them in their performance to perform in the games.
Right.
So if you're able to balance all of those things, of course, you're going to be successful. If you can't manage those things, you're going to end up like clubs like PSG, who have brought in all these players, and what did they show for it? Basically nothing, almost, in my opinion. But now we got to look at the players also. Yeah, the older. If we look at all the older players, you notice not a lot of them are very social media, I guess, involved. You know, like, right. But they're older, obviously, because they're kind of aging out.
Sorry, I feel like they have people that run it for them.
Yeah, so like, that's what I'm saying.
You know how to do this? Just take care of it for me, but I'm going to look like I'm doing it.
Yeah, basically.
I get what you're saying.
So, like, I'm going to use Messi and Ronaldo as an example. I'm sure Ronaldo has a team of...
Oh, he does. I know.
Massively. Yeah. But I feel like, and if we look at Messi, if we ever really look at it, because I remember for the while, what was it? Like, oh, Ronaldo has more followers than Messi. Yeah. But I'm like, I really think Messi actually uses his. I think he doesn't have a team. Like, he actually uses it. If he feels like posting, he's like, yeah, I'll post today. Yeah. But he does, like, because the only times I've noticed it, Ronaldo will have, I think, like, professional pictures that somebody took and put, like, it looked like somebody posted it for him.
Yes.
All of the photos Messi has used, or at least posted, or I've seen, seem like ones that were like literally off of his phone.
Yeah.
Like he took it himself, or his wife took it, and like, oh look, I sent you this picture, and he does it himself. So you got to see who more or less, like, I just think them two as an example obviously didn't grow up in the social media, I guess you could say, generation where it was really a thing, like as opposed to like Neymar constantly just being on social media. So they don't really like entertain it as much.
No. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I'm saying like the older players are like that.
Yeah.
The younger ones, obviously, because they grew into that generation of having this and having or doing this or doing that. So with those guys, it really comes down to how can you manage that and control that for them to stay committed to what they're doing, which isn't easy because of course they're gonna. It's how do I put this? Social media has become the new shoe deal.
The new
shoe deal.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it is now. But what show was I watching? Showtime, the Lakers one. The Lakers, the one on HBO with Magic Johnson.
I haven't saw that. I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched
the one where he talks, right?
No.
But he's in it.
Yeah.
He's talking like it's like a documentary, but he's talking.
No. The show, the actual show. Sorry. Yeah, Showtime.
There's two. Sorry, there are two of them.
Oh no, I'm talking about the show.
Magic dropped one. Sorry, just to clarify, Magic dropped one on Apple TV because he said that one is a show.
Oh
but it's not entirely true. But this one is the reason why I brought it out because I want to speak on it.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway,
so
now I know what you're talking about.
There's a part in that when he's getting drafted, and it's basically showing when he's walking up to everybody, and he's talking. They're at a dinner thing with all the draft picks and all the shoe deal people there, Nike, Puma, Reebok, and what did he end up with? Converse or something like that. And they're all trying to sell him a deal, like, hey, we'll get you your own shoe, all that. That's what social media is now. Like, you don't see many players. Like, even before social media became a bigger thing, I remember hearing a lot of these players get Nike deals, this deal. Like, I'm not saying that they're not getting them, but a lot of them were getting shoe deals. I think the only one right now that I've seen that's been big with the shoe is Mbappe. I remember before.
Oh yeah, I get where you're going at. I get what you're saying.
Before it was you would see like a bunch of players with certain shoes
that were stars.
So like for example, Piqué was on the Nike one.
I remember that.
I think Xavi was one of them, and then you had like Neymar, and you had a bunch of other players. You had a good like maybe 8 to 10 players.
I get what
and
you're
then
saying.
Everyone had like kind of their own different shoe.
Yeah.
Now it's been like lately, like I'm just using Nike as an example because that's the one obviously I use the most. But I've noticed with Nike, they've stuck really to like 2 styles of shoes for cleats. Cleats. There's Mbappe's, which is with the sock, and then the Tiempo without the sock. Like before, it was this one. It was like there was like 5 different styles of shoes.
I think what you mean by that is the more of the marketing aspect where they push it harder.
Yeah,
there's a different type.
Yes, of course.
But I get you. So you mean by more market, like hey, they're pushing this a lot harder
they're
than the other
pushing
ones.
this shoe more, and then like before it was like
it's the Miraculous.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm like I've noticed it lately. Like it's the same shoe, they just changed the design. Where before it was like the design changed, the style changed. A lot of it of the shoe changed because it was tailored to the player.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, again,
now it's like
it's.
And I'd say the one before that was really tailored to the player that was coming out differently a lot was Neymar. Neymar when he was with Nike. Now recently with Puma, I haven't really seen much other than the one that he has right now with Puma, and it hasn't been I think as pushed as it was when he was with Nike. Nike was fucking pushing the hell out of his shoes.
Again, that's just business and marketing how they develop their shit.
But my point,
but I get what you're saying.
My point here is like these. There's no longer a player like Haaland, I don't think has a shooter, but he doesn't have it. Yeah. Oh, if he doesn't have one, then that's what I'm saying. Like, there's players that I'm thinking that like, man, they should probably like. I think 10 years ago, like 6-7 players that I'm looking at right now would have a crazy shoe deal. Like right now, I remember for a little while, somebody had a New Balance shoe deal that was like New Balance was trying to come out of nowhere with shoes, and I was just like, wait a minute, what? And then I think Under Armour tried it with cleats too for like a good like couple of years. They had a player, like a few that were really
Memphis Depay was one of them.
I think so, but they were really tapping into that. Like again, that was like how it was back then with all the shoe deals and everybody had different shoes.
Yeah.
Now it's like the typical shoes you see now are just Nike and Adidas and maybe Puma. I haven't really seen before. I used to see like almost everything. Right, I used to see everyone with different shoes. But I'm saying my point here is it's like. The now new thing is this whole social media thing and being on your phones and that because again everybody's just so tailored into that that even the shoes now, it's like, even when I see the kids, sometimes I get shoes. It's like they get new shoes, but it's like it's just a different colorway now.
Yeah, I guess what you're saying, it's not just a shoe deal anymore. It's a
Yeah.
lot of other deals
Yeah.
now that have multiplied where each player, if they're accessible and that company gets to them and they have the agreement of whatever, those players are going to gravitate to it, right? Like those these players that you're talking about, the young ones, like not like we're not like.
Well, that and it's like I said, I think before the outlet for their exposure was to give them a deal and then say, we're gonna put out your style. So like Cristiano, I think I want to say Mbappe are probably the only, and probably Messi, I think are the only three that I would say that have their own logo, their own deal, and their own like style. Like Cristiano has the whole CR7 style. He has underwear, shirts, all that style. Mbappe is getting like that right now with Nike. Yeah. And then Messi has his logo. I think those are the only three that I've seen in terms of this is your logo. We're gonna brand this logo tie it with Nike, and whenever you make something, we're gonna put on the Nike website, all that stuff. Yeah. Whereas everyone else, it's like, all right, you got to deal with Nike, but it's just like you're just wearing stuff. Yeah. That's kind of it, you know. So, but now a lot of them have to now go through these whole like social media things and do branding on there, branding on that. So, what I'm saying, it's like the new, I guess, distraction or exposure now is social media as opposed to being like commercials, you know. So that's their way of them getting exposed. So, tying all of this back up.
Before you say that, I wanted to get that. I don't think you said this, but back then, the way it was exposed, like you just said, like how we were watching the Showtime show, so that moment in time and clip, Magic had to play throughout his career to be seen just by playing.
Yeah. Yes.
And those companies had to. That was the outlook, the platform that they only saw. Was on TV. To be like, hey, this is Magic. This guy's legit. This is the only way we can watch him, so we can bring a deal. Like I said, I think I wanted to add it on to your point. Is like now it's like, okay, I don't have to just watch their games. I can just follow them. So it's like instead of here, now I can go here into their platform and their Instagram or whatever, and be like, oh, okay, he's so and so. Damn, he has this many followers, or he's racking up that likes and these views. So like we're already not like companies are not even watching the game.
Yeah.
Like we know we'll watch you.
Yeah.
But we're watching you here 24/7 now. Because when Magic was there, it's like no, we had a way to watch him do amazing things on the court.
Yeah.
So the obviously the differences. Dynamics. Obvious change. So I get where you're pointing. I just wanted to add on to that because now it's like I was going to bring up somebody, Clivert's son, the youngest one.
Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 years ago. Like this kid signed a shoe deal. It's not an actual design, but he signed with Nike. I think he was like 10 years old. But because this kid was on social media, he's Clivert's son. He's there. He's Barca. They're winning things, and he's funny on there. He has a following. It's like, oh, okay, well. Let's get him. He's gonna bring people to us.
Yeah.
But he hasn't won shit in the adult first team level. Where like if he gets to that point, it's like, again, I'm not saying he's gonna think like this, but it's like, I mean, do I even have to play?
Yeah.
Like Nike's been paying me before I even got to the first team.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So that's what's hard. That's a distraction of like the players as a coach. Do you lose them? How do you deal with them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right, so that's what I was trying to tie all this up in, is that because of all these new other things, like now it's, how do I put this? I don't want to get political, but it's just like it's kind of like I'm not gonna touch on any subject, but it's like kind of now a lot of people were talking political stuff where it's like, well, those were the rules back then. We got to update them now. So I think now it's kind of like that. It's like the rules back then for the team and whatever it is just you just got to update it to the point where it's like, actually, how can I put this? It's like it's like if you go to like a place and they're like, oh, no flash photography. You know, now it's like,
say it.
It's what do they say now? I can't remember. But it's just there's a newer version of that.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, like it's just like you can't do flash photography, but it's now I can't remember what they said, but it was funny because it just popped in my head right now, but I just can't remember the wording. But it's just like it's just something similar to that aspect where before it was like, no video cameras or whatever. But now
Yeah.
it's like you can't record. Or I don't know. There was an updated version of what I heard then to what I hear now, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm old.
No, yeah. I mean, it's just at the time.
And,
and,
well,
like,
that's what I'm saying, and I think that's what it is now with this. It's like this whole social media thing is now they got to implement that type of balance and ruling in terms of how they want their clubs and teams to be basically be structured in order to be able to get the best performance out of their players. Because yeah, you're gonna get some players obviously that are on that. I don't think there's anybody that's close enough as far as I know, because I mean I don't really pay attention too much to it, but Neymar is obviously the prime example of constantly being on social media.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody closer to that's at a high level that he is.
Right.
There's players, yeah, but it's like they're not up there like how he is at right now. Like Mbappe, I don't see him much as a social media person. I mean, he played Haaland. I don't see him much as a social media person. There's a lot of players like that are still, I think, old school in the sense in terms of being focused and playing the game. But then you still got like a Lingard and a Depay who like to be on social media. They're not up there, but you can see they're really using that platform to really make something of themselves. Like I see those two like kind of that type of examples in terms of that aspect.
I think Pogba's a little bit.
Pogba is a little bit.
Not as much as Neymar, but
He was, I think
at one point he was, right?
at one point when he got to Man U, like a little bit before Man U and getting to Man U, and I think he kind of really dialed it down.
I think it's when he had kids.
I
feel like that happened.
I think when he got kids, it's really dialed it down, because before he didn't have kids, he was all over it. But now I think he kind of really dialed it down. So there's obviously different aspects for a lot of players, but now that's where you, as a coach, you do the smart thing of, okay, what players do I bring in now that are really going to help me with this environment and this culture?
Yeah.
So you're not going to bring in players that are going to be all youngsters. Like it works at Ajax because you're basically bringing all of those players from the academy that are already implemented into that structure. So it works. Once they get up there, they already know the routine. So you don't really need like a veteran player. What you really need out of that veteran player is for them to just keep them grounded and not make them think, hey, you're on the first team, you're everything now.
Yeah.
You know? But now now that you're at a different club, you got different cultures, you got different players. Because Ajax, if you really look at a lot of those players, a lot of them are Dutch players. So it's like they're into that environment and culture of what their country is already. Now you're gonna go to United where you're not getting very many English players. You're getting different cultured players. You're getting Portuguese. You're getting French. You're getting you're getting some England. You're getting Spain. You're getting different countries and different cultures and different environments. So with all that, yeah, you have to have this kind of structure. But then now you really gotta get players that are veteran players that can still play at a high level, but can also mold and ground some of the younger players that are into this media outlet aspect and things like that. So having that structure like that is good. I think the best one for me that I saw out of everybody, from all the coaches they've shown, was Xavi when he came in. The moment he came in, I mean, he has how he has it because of where obviously that was his club, and he's basically implementing what he had before, and probably is doing more things than what he was there, as opposed to when Pep was there. Nothing against Pep, but I'm sure since he's coach, he probably realized certain things like, yeah, I can't have this rule, or I got to tweak this rule a little bit, or I got to tweak this idea a little bit, and then make this into this. So when he came to Barca, I'm sure that's what he's done. I think this year for him is obviously going to be not detrimental, but very important to really showcase what he's capable of doing, because now he's got the whole transfer window for himself, and he can finally pick the guys that he wants. He can get rid of the guys that he doesn't want. So he's kind of moving guys here and there.
They don't have money.
But somehow are getting the guys that are at least capable for him to probably work with. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm saying, like, a lot of it I think does come and stem down to a coach in terms of, especially if an owner's bringing in a coach, you obviously got to listen to their demands, because there's a few reasons you're bringing them in. One, they've been successful. Two, there's a reason behind that success. There's something behind that success that allowed it to be successful, meaning they have a structure, they have a curriculum, they have whatever it is that they have to be that. So you're going to go by that. Like, you're going to have some of these owners some might be like, no, we don't do that here. This is how we do it. And then the guys are okay with me, then I obviously don't need to be here. If you're bringing me in You're bringing in not because of what I can do on the field, but what I've been able to structure that leads to the field. You know, because yes, they can do what they do on the field, but we only see again what we see on the field as a term in terms of what people watch. But recently, we've seen the all or nothing episodes with Liverpool. Actually, sorry, we saw it with Tottenham. We saw it with City. We saw it with Brazil. We saw.
I just saw the Juventus one.
The Juventus one, but everyone forgets the Liverpool one that was like years ago. There was one with Liverpool before what's his name? Klopp was there.
Before the one,
before Klopp. This was like years. This is when Sterling was on the team and he was like a young player, and I remember that one because that was I think the first time, something like that you see behind the scenes with players and training and all that stuff was actually done and televised globally. I'm sure they do that stuff locally and we don't get to see it, but then that kind of started to turn around and now we see it with other teams and doing all this. So it's like you see all of those aspects now, and it's like, okay, you really get to see it with the structure that some of these coaches really develop and how they, you know, structure the whole entire club and things like that and what they do behind the scenes. So it all really just comes down to a lot of that and what they're gonna believe in this coach that they're bringing in. You know, they say these things in the beginning with some of these coaches, but then they like the structure, but then they can't win games, and then that happens. They get rid of the coach, they bring someone else in, and that coach is gonna bring in their culture, their environment. And some are going to be good with it and some aren't. So it's hard for some of these coaches sometimes when they have one successful year coming from someone's prior, you know, failures, I guess you could say, like in terms of not being successful. So some of them do well right away, but then it's like, okay, a lot of these clubs now are looking more short term as opposed to long term as to what it was before. Mm-hmm. So some of the owners and some of these clubs have to like really look themselves in the mirror and say, do I really want a 2-3 years accomplishments or like successfulness, or do I want a dynasty? You know what I mean? And some owners are like that. They're like, okay, we understand we're the middle of the group, but we're gonna build to becoming something great eventually.
But I think
which is hard.
It's hard, and I think
easy.
I think a lot of clubs have faded from that.
A lot have, and
depending on the club, because I mean, you're talking about the top 5 in the world.
Yeah,
top 5 in the world. Who do we think that has had? It's funny, actually. Let me say this. It's kind of sad for him in some way. Cholo Simeone.
Yeah,
he's been with Atletico for what, 10 years, maybe plus.
Probably, yeah.
Has now won 1 Champions. He's been in the final, but has not won 1 Champions. Atletico hasn't tried that aspect of changing a new coach to win, and yet Barca and Real at least have won 1 in that 10-year span with a different coach since Simeone's got there with Pep, right?
Yeah,
Luis Enrique, Zidane, Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me, because if it's Atletico still thinking about that type of era of like, we want him, no matter how long it's going to take, it's going to get, you know. But other big name clubs, those 2 that I mentioned, have gone the route of like, okay, this coach isn't working, we're going to bring in someone else for this year.
What you have to remember though too is you got to remember where Barca, Madrid, United, the clubs that have been Liverpool, you know, these teams that have been winning constantly throughout the years. You have to remember again that they've been doing this for 100-some years or whatever, you know, winning like this. You're talking about Atletico, who prior to Simeone was nowhere near what those.
Yeah, and they were actually in the 2nd division.
Yeah, so you gotta remember, it's like whoever's in charge over there understands that this isn't gonna be like a 10-year span. We're looking at like 30, 40 some years down the road to maybe get to our first Champions League or get to, because when Simeone started, obviously they weren't that great, but then he's put them on the map.
He's Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, he's
the reason why Atletico is.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, and I think that's why they're keeping him there, because prior to him, it's like we would have never imagined even getting close to what we're at now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won the league 3 times, I think, since he's been there. I want to say
so.
2 or 3 at
I
least.
think it's
I know
around that.
So, but they've been winning some titles in terms of their leagues and things like that. Where again, whoever was in charge, whoever was involved in all that stuff prior to him, were like, we would have never even dreamed of getting to anything like this, you know. So it's like that's probably the mindset there to say we're how do I put this? We're okay with where we're at, but we know we're gonna get better. You know, we're gonna ride this wave right now, but eventually the bigger wave will eventually come. Mm-hmm. You know, because like I think if they were to do that whole change thing, I don't think they'd be where they're at right now. Because again, you're talking about a club that's not as a big name as Madrid and Barca. Like,
well, that's what I meant. The top 5. Like you're thinking about Chelsea.
You're Atletico Madrid. Your neighbor is fucking Real Madrid. Like before even you were even an idea or a name, Real Madrid already owned the goddamn city. Now you're like, you took like a third, or not even a third, like a corner street out of the entire city now. So it's like before we couldn't even imagine like we would have never thought we would get this block here. Yeah.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? So now they're like obviously chipping away, which is gonna take some time. You're trying to compete against a club that has centuries of history, as opposed to what you were bringing since you started, which was little to nothing, you know. So it's like now they obviously have something. So yeah, I think the owners there, it's one of those like they know what their lane is, they know where their place is, but they know that they're capable of chipping away and getting there eventually, which is happening because who would have? I mean, I remember Atletico when the Forlan was there and Falcao was there, and they were like the Ajax of Spain, if you really think about it. They had all the younger players that would just be good, and then they'd send them out. Yeah. Torres was there, Fernando Torres. They had those players. So it's like now they've went from that to now becoming like almost kind of like how Dortmund and Munich are right now, but they're in there with Barca and Madrid. Yeah. So it's like now instead of just, remember we used to say it, Barca and Madrid, that's the only team in that league, like nobody cares, you know, it was just them two. Now it's like they're in there. Sevilla's getting in there. Villarreal's finally getting in there. Yeah. So now there's at least, I want to say maybe 6 to 7 teams in La Liga that can really make a difference and push and play against all these other clubs now. Or before it was like, Real Madrid and Barca.
But again, I'm just saying an example of like the hit or miss of grabbing coaches. You know, because again, Villarreal had I forgot his name, the coach he was at PSG and he was at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he got him close to the semifinals where he almost could have beat, or it wasn't semis or quarters. Well, he was this past champions.
Semis.
He was almost, against Chelsea. Against Madrid? No.
It was semis.
It wasn't, I think it was
Man
quarters.
City.
It was a quarters.
They got to the semis. No, they got to the semis.
Was it the semis?
Villarreal got to the semis. Yes. That was their first year ever getting to the semis.
So it was either Madrid or Chelsea.
City. No, that's City. Who was in the final? Who was in the final? Madrid and
Liverpool.
They
played Liverpool. And they lost the first game 1-0.
Yeah, and then they almost came back in the second game.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I guess what I'm saying is again, looking as if I'm athletic and I'm looking at that, it's like, they've had multiple coaches. Like, yeah, they got to the semis. Yeah, we've been to the final as Atletico. Mm. But I guess what I'm saying is like, when do you get to a point if you're Atletico or a team like Atletico that's like on the cusp of top 5 in the world to be like, maybe we need to try coaches every 3 years if we can't get to where we want to. Yeah. Because it is hard. Again, the Liverpools of like that time that you said when Klopp came in, they gave him time.
Yeah.
And they understood that,
yeah,
which is fine as a club. And like they understand, hey, we're not going to make it the first time.
Yeah.
But then you look at Chelsea. Literally, Tuchel came in X amount of months later and won champions.
Yeah.
And the way he did it, it's like, okay, everything was structured a certain way.
Yeah.
And on a point with this, it's, I guess, it's obviously a different era.
Yeah.
Different views.
Real quick, just from what you were saying, why don't Atletico does like,
right. Go ahead.
I feel like some of these clubs, like I said, I think they know their place one, and obviously they all have an end game and they all have an objective. But I think the other thing too is a lot of times, especially if you're a bigger club, there's always a, how do I put this? There's always a goal and an objective, obviously, to when you come in and say, okay, what is it that you want and what is it that you're looking for? You know, like, do you want to win this year or do you want to win in 5 years? Are you looking to be this kind of club or are you looking to be that kind of club? You know, that kind of thing. So the coach obviously comes in, and they think we saw it in an interview. They always show it the interview with Klopp when he comes to Liverpool. When he has the first interview, he says, "Give me 5 years and we'll get back to the top." And sure enough, 5 years later, he's there. So I think a lot of it comes again from these clubs to say, what is our image? What is it that we are? What is it that what we want to be? So some of these clubs, like for Real, for example, I'm sure they brought the coach in and said, "Hey, we just want to make it to the Europa League." Or, "Hey, we just want to get, top 5 or top 6 or top 7. Our objective here is to, here's your goals. Your goal is to be between 7th and 10th place, and you have to beat our rival teams, and that's it. And then, whatever. There's like things like that. But when you exceed that, that's where it gets a little harder, because now the expectation next year is to consistently exceed that.
Yeah.
So that's why you see some of these coaches in some of these clubs. It's like, wow, like Conte, for example. He came into Chelsea 1 year and won it in the first year, and then gets fired the second year.
Yeah.
Because again, the expectation was probably for him or for them was to say, we need to get back in the running to at least be competitive with all these teams again. But I don't think the expectation fully was. I'm sure there was the thought of like, hey, we want to win the league. Oh yeah. But in some people's mindsets, like, we're not going to win the league with the team that we have. Give me a year or two and we'll get to winning the league. He wins the league the first year, and it's like, okay, now that's the expectation every year. You won it last year with the team that you had. Now you should be able to win it the following year, because you're now probably capable of getting better players than one you previously just had, And then if you're not, obviously, and what ends up happening is they lose the first couple games. They're barely going, slowly getting up, and then like, you know what? Our expectation was for us to hit the ground. The second season already guns blazing. We're missing and we're not doing well. We need to find someone else, and they get rid of them. So I think that's what happens to a lot of these coaches, and we lose sight of some of them because it's like they do so well in their first year that their expectation of next year or the expectation of that year surpassed of what was expected before they even came in. And that's what ends up happening. So like Tuchel, like right now, like his first year he came in, he goes and wins Champions League. So every year now it's like, we need to get to the final. You know what I mean?
I think I get what you're saying.
You know
because
what I mean?
it's also like, okay, I know we won champions, but we haven't won.
Well, you got to remember. You got to remember some clubs though. There's some
Yeah.
clubs that are like. I think Chelsea's been that prime example of we have to constantly win, and if you don't, we're gonna.
Well, like I think
You know
it's
what I
similar to Real when Ancelotti got fired, because like, okay, we won champions, but we want League Two.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Barca's been winning league.
Yeah.
I think like
there's
that, but
things like
Chelsea
that.
didn't.
Yeah, of course. And there's clubs like that. But again, it depends on the coach coming in and of what they can them and the owners and what their plans are can coexist on what it is that the outcomes will be.
Yeah.
And I think Simeone with the club that they are, I'm sure when they came in, they were like, hey, we're not a big club. We just want to be able to compete. We just want to be able to compete within these 5 years. We want to be able to, and then probably within those 5 years, he won league. And then within those 7 years, he went to Champions League like 3 times. He went to the final, I think, 3 times already. I think it was 3 or 2.
From what I remember, it's 2.
Probably
both
2.
against Real.
Yeah, if you're probably correct. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm sure when he was able to do that and now be consistently up there, I'm sure they're happy with it. I don't think they're that kind of club that's like, oh, we want to win the Champions League every single time. I think they know that they can only produce as much as they can because they're below Barca and Madrid in that aspect of money and exposure and stuff like that. But that's the thing. They're now up there with Barca. They're up there, but below Barca and Madrid. Whereas before it was like, yeah. So I think that's why they're okay with him there. Whereas opposed to other clubs, because they obviously have decades and centuries of history, they have to maintain that, which has been the issue. Like with United, Ferguson was there for 20 some X years, but in the first 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, if I remember correctly, he was not successful. He had a horrible time. They were in talks.
I remember that.
They were in talks of getting rid of him, and then one game changed it all, and then the rest is history, obviously. So a lot of these clubs, it's like they know their place in the sense, and the problem what happens is like they get a taste of it and they expect the full of it after because they were close enough to it with what they had already, but then because they don't get the full of it, then they get rid of it. Because it's like, no. If we were able to do it like this, then we should be able to do it with you still here because you were the one that got us here. Now you've been able to get whatever it is you want, and it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So we see that with Tottenham. Pochettino, look what he did. He had a horrible team that limped its way to the final of Champions League. You know, I give him massive credit for taking the team that he took there and then losing, okay. But then the next year, what was the expectation? You got to Champions League with half of a team. Okay, now here's the healthy team and the players that you probably want. But then he started losing everything and they fired him. So it's like, see, it's like, do we discredit Pochettino or do we discredit the club here? Because it's like, I've known Pochettino since he was with Southampton before anybody knew who the fuck he was. And I remember every time United played Southampton, I was like, fuck, we're going to play Southampton. Why? Because this guy was a fucking amazing coach. He knew how to play his players.
Right. Again, I don't want to go in circles and how our point was earlier.
Yeah.
I think the culture and the meshing and the coaching, once it fits, it's going to fit. Again, you have coaches that are going to implement something.
Yeah.
You know, and if Pochettino had that type of team, I'm sure they were going in there, hey, guns blazing, we got nothing to lose, we're this far, we're out of the league race, we're in the final of the Champions League. These players are like, this is what we're playing for. I don't have any big name egos on the team that where it's like, no, I got to play like this, or I got to, you know what I mean? I think the culture just of those type of coaches and how Pochettino, how you say, since you've seen him in that club, has been brought up in his own career to adjust to those things. Because if you think about it, and he goes to PSG, he has the best players in the world. Again, you got to deal with all these egos. Right?
No, yeah.
So I get what you're saying, and I think just again, not to go in circles and take too long on the point. I just think, just to end up on my point, I think the culture of everything aspect in European soccer is getting to an era where it's very, very difficult unless you have the right structures around the whole club to understand your team, your players, and the culture that's been evolving in there with these certain coaches, because the coaches are going to hit or miss now. Oh, yeah. And again, it's going back to saying why Cholo Simeone, it's worked out for him because he implemented his culture, and if Atleti loves it and they're okay with it and they're okay, just leaving it that way, cool. But if you're like a Real Madrid where it's we just won with Ancelotti 4 or 5 years ago and we brought him back and won again, it's like, okay, should we keep him here 10 years? No, because they're going to be like, once you don't win at least La Liga or this trophy, we're going to try to find another coach. Yeah, you won champions. Okay, we've won it. But you get what I'm saying? Certain clubs are going to end up being like that. That's what I'm saying. The top 5 clubs, I don't know, from, again, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barca, Man City. Who was the 5th one probably? Chelsea? I don't know, top 5 in the world. Or Liverpool. So those the two teams that have had a coach 5+ years have been City and Liverpool with Klopp and Guardiola, right?
Yeah.
The other 3, I think I mentioned, Bayern had changed the coach. They just got the new guy from last season. Mm-hmm. That was at Dortmund, right? Or no, Leipzig.
No.
He was at Leipzig,
yes,
right? The young guy?
Yes.
Real just got Ancelotti back.
Yeah.
But they had different coaches.
Yeah.
I guess Barca's up there too now, but they had different coaches. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those clubs, all I'm saying is they're in a trend where they're gonna, no matter the history and have they been up, they're gonna want to succeed no matter how. Yeah. As opposed to have you said earlier, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just think the high percentage of these clubs that I named are gonna look for we need the coach for the 3-year term at least.
What it looks like, most of them is they want the coach that can, if they've fallen off and for a Real Madrid, for what we consider to be falling off, is they went from 1st to 3rd. That's considering them falling off because they're obviously used to being 1st or 2nd and always constantly being in the finals of Champions League, at least in the past 10, 15, whatever many years. What they want half the time, or majority of those time, is to get a coach that can structure it and kind of build it back up. And then if they can be successful, obviously stay. But if not, then they bring in a more experienced coach that can maintain those kinds of that structure, whatever it is that they're building. Because it seems like majority of these coaches and players, or not players, but these organizations are at least the higher ones are doing that as opposed to the lower ones. Because if you look at the lower ones and the middle ones, they tend to have a coach that's been there for a good X amount of years, and they kind of stay there, and then they have like a small burst of success, and then they drop back down.
Yeah.
So there's some that are like that, and then usually when they have that small burst of success, it's how do I put this? It's almost dangerous in this aspect of going after that coach. And I hate to bring. I don't want to. Not saying I don't want to bring him up, but I hate what happened to him is Espiritu Santo.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those that I truly believe that I think. I don't want to say he bit off more than he can chew, but I think he jumped up at an opportunity with the wrong club.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he did very good with Wolves, and he was doing, I believe, with what he had, better than what Tottenham has been because of what they've been as a history of a club, even though they haven't won anything in so many damn years, and that's the running joke for them. I don't think he was that guy yet to come in and win something for them because he's done stuff at Wolverhampton, but I have to look back. I don't think he's won anything with them. He's just been competitive enough and well enough to structure something
and beat the big teams.
Yeah. Where now it's like you kind of I think the best team for him that could have been for him if he were to make a change during that time would have been Arsenal. Because Arsenal at the time when he was obviously with Wolves was no longer the big club anymore. So I think that would have been perfect for him to go there because that's a structured historic club that understands what it takes. It's already where it needed to be in the time. I think he could have at least grown more with that club as opposed to going to Tottenham where they just came off of success with Pochettino, and then they brought in Mourinho thinking, Mourinho's going to all of a sudden win everything. And then they fire him the fucking day before he goes to a final of a game. Yeah. And then the following year, they bring in Espiritu Santo. It's like, that was a very dangerous...
Espiritu Santo didn't even last the year, right?
No, he only played like, season. Not even half. He was like 3 months in. He lost like... almost half the season. He won... he was winning like the first 4 games, and all of a sudden just fell off.
And then they brought Conte.
And then they brought in Conte to finish off the year.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's one of those going off of that. It's one of those hit and miss because Conte got him in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So again, we don't know, but I love Espiritu Santo. I also think at the time maybe he could have done well at United.
Oh yeah,
before this German guy. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
But that's here, near, no there, whatever. But going off of that, I think we got the understanding of how things are, which I think leads to my. Well, let me finish with this. What do you think, in the shortest way possible, is United pretty much in that building stage, like a club, like a Pep? Do you think this is what they're going for? Because since they're going just to the Europa, they lost like 8 players already. They're gonna lose Cristiano. Yeah. I believe Cristiano's gonna leave. Do you believe he's gonna leave?
Yeah, Cristiano should leave.
Yeah. So again, it's literally rebuilding.
I'd be shocked if he stays.
I would be.
Upset. It's what's funny.
I would be upset.
It's funny you bring him up real quick because on Instagram they were posting about how he's what did they say he put in his
2 weeks,
like his 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
he put his notice to leave, like he wants to leave, and then like hours later they post the jersey and he's like one of the ones that's wearing the jersey. I was like, why would you post it? Like, he just said he wanted to leave.
Kids, right? Yeah. They do that all the time. It's funny that you said that because they're like, I saw another like a meme or something like, hey, he's done this twice already with Madrid. Yeah. He brought the New Jersey and he left. Yeah. Juventus, he was in the New Jersey and then he left. Yeah. Is it going to happen again? Yeah. That was the meme. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. I was like, you guys are just using him for marketing. Yeah,
I'm just curious on who would take him and where he would go. Because honestly, I don't know.
If you don't know, I've been watching. Okay, so here's. I'm not going to take too long because it's my boy.
Yeah.
The 2 best fits from what I'm seeing, one that can afford him, because obviously, like I said, if he wants to just win champions, you can go anywhere. And people, again, you have all the money in the world. Mm-hmm. But again, I understand the image and who you are. But the only 2 teams that can afford him that look like more of a fit from this dude's age and how he's still playing and producing, it's either Chelsea or Bayern Munich. And the reason why is that those 2, either one's going to lose Lewandowski. Mane is not a striker; he's in the wing, like we said in the final. Yeah. Chelsea just lost Lukaku; he didn't want to be there. Yeah. They're going to lose a little bit more players. Timo Werner's not a striker, as much as our brother Ronaldo keeps telling me. Like he's not. This guy, no, like he was nowhere near 10 goals last season.
Oh yeah.
So, and if you want somebody to produce just goals, which it's making more sense to me, which is fine. Chelsea has nothing but young players that are literally under 30. From what I remember, most of them are under 30. And they fit, because if he wants to just stay Premier League and he wants to win the Premier League, that's his best chance with Chelsea because they finished third. In that sense of what if he wants to stay in the Premier. Now, if he wants to win champions, I'm not saying Chelsea can, but they'll probably be up there again in the semis or past the quarters or whatever. Now, if you want to go to Munich, literally that's like saying, oh, when Messi went to PSG, we're going to see 50 goals because he's in that league. That's what I'm looking at. If Lewandowski leaves and he goes to Bayern Munich, you're going to get 30 goals plus because it's that league. Yeah. You're going to win the league because they won it for 20 years in a row.
Yeah.
Now, the concentration is champions, and they have always been that far to get there, to get close to champions in the past 3-4 years with Bayern Munich, right?
Yeah.
But what's funny is, like, how are you going to let go of Lewandowski, who's 34, and bring in Cristiano, who's 37, and they're looking at it as like, well, why did you let this guy go? That's what he's been wanting, but you're going to get Cristiano?
Yeah.
But again, it's different dynamics. But those are the two best, I think, ideas, because I don't know any other club that can afford him. But if he leaves, it's out of those two teams. And I'm honestly thinking it's more towards Chelsea because I think he wants to stay in the Premier League and he wants to win the Premier League again with a champions. Because he wants to accolade again at that level.
The only one I think that'd be the best fit for him.
Out of those two or another one?
No, out of those two, in terms of the style and play, I think it's going to be Munich.
Because it's somewhat less drastic, right?
In terms of the style of how they play.
Right.
I mean, I'm not talking about the league. I'm just saying in the format and the way they play. Because they're very counter-esque, so they don't really... I don't want to say they don't attack, but they don't really, like... They're not, like... They'll run up and down, but he doesn't have to run up and down. If Lewandowski, with, like, zero speed, can play on that team and score as many goals, Ronaldo can go on that team and play so many goals. Chelsea is not... with Tuchel, is not a back. They're not like that. They're more of like passing, possessing, and trying to build and all that stuff. And Ronaldo is not that kind of player. In terms of a player, I say Munich is the best fit. But in terms of, I don't see Chelsea at all being up there like they were these last couple of years, the last few years. I just don't see it. I mean, they're losing players. I don't know who they've gained and brought in, but I don't see them being a team as what they were when he got there.
When he won?
Yeah, I don't.
Like it's faded a little.
Yeah, I think it's faded, I mean,
and the whole like Russian owner thing
that changed. That's a whole nother like dynamic that's gonna change for them because the only good thing I think out of that is that he may not get fired because if he doesn't do well, the new owner coming in may not really like.
Which is an American owner.
I mean, they want to win obviously, but I don't think they're gonna be like. You're not gonna be like cutthroat like the Russian. The Russian, that guy, you lose like a couple games and you're done. Yeah. So I think let's just say none of that stuff with Russia happened, and Tuchel was still in this year. I would think he's getting like this third year, whatever. He's not gonna last. He wouldn't last, but I think he's only gonna last now because of the new owner. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets axed from the new owner because again, it just depends on what he's gonna produce.
I don't mind Munich. I just wanted Cristiano in the Premier League still because I liked obviously the Premier League. But if he goes to Munich, I totally agree on that. The aspect and the style of play, and he could get 40 goals at 37.
What if Galaxy swoops in last minute?
No. Here. We'll get to that. I'm just
saying. I'm just kidding.
No, man. Like all the money in the world,
just last minute Galaxy is like, hey, come over here.
No.
We brought your buddy Bale.
No. You guys can go golf together. We'll get to that.
We got some pristine golf courses out here.
No. You don't. Here's why.
I bet you that's what the LAFC sold them on. I bet you that's what they sold them on.
That's what this conversation was about. He couldn't answer it. But anyways, we'll get
golf courses here, man.
We'll get to it. Just to end a little bit on Cristiano, I think again his drive and his aspect of what he wants to do is still win Champions League because he wants it so bad.
I know that.
So if you're saying Munich, I can see it now a little bit more because yes, like. You don't have to worry about the league. You don't have to worry about the inner tournaments that they have and those type of trophies. Because the two teams that have gotten to Champions League that high have been Chelsea and Munich, right? They've always been up in the quarterfinals higher than that as well. I could see it. It'd be interesting. I could see him 30+ goals if he gets there, and the style of play that you say. It's just a matter of, I guess, them doing it. But I just wanted him in Chelsea because I wanted to finally see him in a Nike team.
I know, right? Nike. I know, right?
Every time he goes somewhere, it's all been Adidas.
Yeah, the last time it was Nike was United.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Juve was Adidas and Madrid.
Yeah,
like, so it's like cool to see, just in that personal view, like, cool, I can see you in Nike the whole year. Like, that's too, like, I don't have to wait for Portugal to play and say you're in Nike.
I know, right?
It's just cool to see that. And I'm sure Nike's like, yeah, finally, we have a fucking team that's Nike. We can promote the shit out of it and make more money. But anyways, yeah, if it does happen, that'll be interesting. I think it would work because how Munich's been.
Yeah.
But yeah, after seeing what's happened at United, we just spoke on it. My personal view to end on United, I think it was all the accolades that we mentioned to the players that are around him, and Ronaldo looking at it like, what just happened to this club? I mean, you can't blame him for leaving. If you're a diehard fan, you can't because even before he got there was things going on. You know what I mean? So it's like thanks Ronaldo for trying. That's how I feel. If I was a real United fan, I'd be like, thanks for trying. Yeah. We appreciate you coming back, but like we understand why you gotta leave. Yeah. Like we're going to Europa again.
I'd apologize to him.
Yeah. Like, we're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry.
We felt bad.
We're sorry.
Dude. Please. But yeah, I think
it's like please excuse the mess that's over here.
I think to end it on my perspective for those two teams, Chelsea or Munich, if it's one's going to be a little bit harder than the other. If it's Chelsea, it's going to be harder because it's the Premier League. Mm-hmm. But if he goes to Munich, it's more consistent of thinking about just champions.
Oh, but Newcastle has a new owner too.
Yeah, they're not even champions.
They could give him literally $1 billion for his.
You can give him all the money in the world, which he already has, and he just wants to. This
do you
guy.
remember that though?
What?
With everybody, did you remember when they heard about the new owners of Newcastle and everybody's like, we're gonna get this is the roster next year.
Mbappe,
Neymar, Ronaldo, Messi.
Jesus, are you sure?
And like
they haven't got nobody.
Yeah,
like, not even a big star name. It's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
When I saw that, I was like, calm down, people.
Yeah, but again, I think at the end of the day, knowing who Ronaldo is and been following him, yes, he wants champions because I also feel, and we can agree to this, that he should have had that one Ballon d'Or at the end of Real Madrid season, which whatever happened behind the court allegations and all that shit, I still feels like I feel like he wants to get as much as he can before he's done. Which I think he also realized, well, okay, Zlatan's at 40, he's still trying to do it at the high level. Like, there was no near about MLS yet, but until he gets what he wants with champions and those type of things, I think we'll see when he decides, okay, 2 years left of just soccer anywhere, just to soccer it.
What if he's like, you know what, this year, just want to take it easy. I'm just gonna go play at MLS for a year.
No.
and do the Zlatan thing. No. Just go for a year and then leave.
No, he's not that guy. You're not that guy.
No,
you're not that guy. But speaking on that, as we can move on, we're good on that.
Yeah,
I think United is a real rebuilding year, right, for you guys?
Oh yeah, I think. I'm not saying it's going to be...
and you believe he's going to leave for sure.
Ronaldo?
Yeah, right? I feel like it for sure.
He already put in his request. It's like, at first, I don't know where I want to leave. And it's like, okay, wait, we might have to consider him leaving. Because, for me, I've said this in the past with a lot of players, even that were at clubs and big names and whatnot.
Yeah.
I've said this in the past many years. The moment a player doesn't want to be there, don't let him be there. Yeah. Let him leave. Because you got to remember, it's like, in this club aspect and everything, there's many players. You know, there's many players that want to be there. Yeah, you know what? Maybe this player isn't the quality or caliber of what that is, but it's like, why have that player there that might be detrimental to your entire club and your team, than opposed to somebody that wants to be there and is going to put in the time and effort to, even though they may not produce as well as them, but is going to push more and want it more than the guy that doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, get rid of him. Let him go. Let him be. Thank you for being there. We're sorry we did what happened and how it all planned out, but it is what it is, and you move on.
I agree. So, like I always say, if he goes, I go. So I can't wait what team we're going to go to next.
Yeah.
Chelsea or Munich. We'll see what happens. But moving on. All right. Moving on. All right. So we don't speak on this a lot, but
ever.
I mean, we spoke on it with Pam. Pam.
Okay, that was the exception.
That was an exception, but now it's the thing. Now it's something that I even looked into as my personal research.
Oh, Jesus.
Bale at the MLS, LAFC.
I was really surprised with that.
So was I. But again, one, because he took a big-ass pay cut. A huge pay cut.
I think that, and I don't think anybody was going to pay him what he wanted out there.
I just said pay cut.
No, I know, but I'm saying that I don't think it was like how do I put that? I don't think he had any other choice.
He kind of did, but he didn't want to answer it. They were asking him when they had that.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I'm saying like I don't think he really had any other choice. I'm sure there was teams that probably could have offered him what he wanted in the sense, but it was like I don't want to go to that team.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right.
What I mean? I'm sure there was. I wouldn't doubt Tottenham being like, "Hey, you want to come back and we'll pay you." And it's like, I don't really want.
But here's kind of like where the reason why I want to talk about this whole MLS thing and where it's going and how it's going with certain players, because he's not the only one. He's 32. He came into the league as 32, and just how you said it, the mindset is probably like that. But I think what I realized after watching a few documentaries and seeing in the past of like people commenting like Griezmann, Neymar, saying one day I want to go to the MLS and just play there.
Yeah.
Pogba has said it before too, even in this documentary that I saw. And this is kind of going back to what we said a little bit earlier in the beginning of the podcast and how the culture is and what's going on in Europe and these type of players and what they deal with in that aspect at the high level of that sport, which is, soccer or football in the world over there. I think these players are realizing the noise that MLS is making in this perspective that I said in the past podcast, even with Pam when we spoke on it, where it's going to become, like I said, it's going to become its own thing like the NBA and the NFL because it's an American sport. And I think these athletes like a Bale, like a Jesse Lingard about to possibly come over here, Pogba, the way he described it, I think these players are really realizing, because I know Pogba said it specifically, you can be whoever you want to be when you play in America. And I think what they're thinking is that we don't want to deal with the crazy pressure anymore from the Europe aspect of the media and how they portray us as the players over there, because we have to always be at a high level. Now, I'm not saying that they're trying to like have an excuse and just be like, I don't want to be at that high level. I think they're looking at an aspect of like the pressure over here is nothing compared to the pressure over there.
Yeah.
Because why? Because we got to think about regulation, right?
Yeah.
Getting dropped from the league, right?
Yeah.
And maintaining that high level. Because if you're in a shitty ass team over here, you can still get praised and be God still.
Yeah.
But they're like, yeah, the team sucks. But oh my God, you're LeBron James. Like right now, the Lakers are shitty, but they have history, and it's like, oh my God, LeBron James can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to get regulated.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, you're going to the second division. We don't have a second division here, but we're gonna fucking stuff down all this money down your throat in your life to be who we want you to kind of be, or be who you want to be in this club, because you're going to bring us revenue and money and an attraction to this club, because it's not going anywhere. Unless some bad management and business stuff happen, like Chivas USA and shit like that. And so what I'm thinking is that as Bale coming over here, it's obviously going to trigger him and make other players that are around that age in the 30s, 32, 33, look at it and be like, wow, like I can still play at a good level. I wouldn't say just good, because it's grown. We've seen it. Yeah. It's grown. And get paid close to what I've been getting paid over here. So for an example, Bale said, I think this is what Bale really saw. I think Bale was so fed up at Real Madrid, the way he was treated since Zidane came back, and how he didn't wasn't getting playing time because, he didn't like him, this and that. But it's Bale. He like, I fucking scored a bicycle kick in the final. I won the game for you guys.
Yeah.
But then I'm being treated this way. And I think that's what players are seeing is like, no, if I did that shit in the U.S. in any sport, I'm most likely still going to be treated amazingly the following year, like a Tom Brady, like a like those type of players are like, oh, they stamp their mark in the U.S. sport where it's like, I have to do good. I'm going to continue to do good the following year as much as possible. God forbid injuries. So I think he looked at it, again, this is just off of theory and what I'm seeing and sensing, that I don't want to be at a competition level getting ready to go to my first World Cup ever to be criticized the whole time if I'm going to play or not. I just want to play soccer and not have the crazy amount of pressure like you guys always at an age where I have a family now and thinking about the World Cup. It's like, I think I just want to play soccer now, and MLS is allowing me to do that no matter how my dynamics is and what my character is, because we accept it out here in the U.S. Over there in Europe, it's like, well, he's playing golf and well, he's not even taking this shit seriously. Like, yeah, obviously that's kind of like an obvious, like, yeah, we want you to take it seriously. We're not saying it out over here, but to the extent over there where they crucify and they give it to them, it's like that affects also the club in Europe and being like, you're bringing us bad press. We're not going to play you, so we have to figure something out. And if Zidane doesn't like you and he's the coach, we got to figure it out. Because once Ancelotti came back, I'm sure Bale was like, okay, cool. I was cool with Ancelotti, but I still don't feel the love.
Yeah.
And it's funny because of the Galaxy game, which was yesterday or the day before, the joy in his face was way different because all he did was walk into the field and the crowd loved him.
Yeah, of course.
At the end of his career at Madrid, they would whistle him.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, again, I just think these players in Europe are realizing what is the potential for a lower rate and less pressure, meaning the money matches the pressure. Because, again, if you go to Europe, same with coaches, like if you don't produce and we don't ask for the demands that we're paying you for, you're done, and we're going to crucify it through the media. We're like, good luck if another team's going to get you because this is what we stamped on you. And that's how I think Europe soccer, I feel, what these players are dealing with. But again, going from what Pogba said in his documentary, I love Miami. You can be whoever you want to be, this and that. And I think these players are seeing that. Yeah. Again, same with Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard was amazing. Yeah. Things weren't going his way. Shit wasn't happening for him, but they crucify him at United. Like, no, he's this and blah, 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 like. So it gets to those type of players where it's like, well, if I go to the U.S., they're just going to be like, well, he's just injured or he's just having enough. It's like, again, it's one of those like, again, like I don't know if you saw earlier the comedian, like he was speaking on parents. He's like, you guys messed that up because back in the day when my teacher said, or if I told you my teacher didn't like me, my parents would be like, well, F that. That's life.
Yeah.
But now parents are like, oh my God, let's get her fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I think, again, just the concept of saying that over here, it's like, are you right, Pogba? Like, you need some time. Like, again, like, oh, you're Pogba. You've done your thing, but now you're in our league, so we're kind of cater to you.
Yeah.
Again, so my whole point here is that I think Bale coming over here is going to shift a momentum how it kind of was a few years back when Thierry Henry came in, but now to a different extent where it's like getting more global attention from the players at his age, from Lingard to Bale to those players in their getting close to their 30s.
Yeah.
Where back then it was like after 30.
Yeah.
You know, and after seeing Bale even talk and like to the announcers and just seeing him there, like, yeah, dude, I haven't seen this guy happy that much on the soccer field without playing in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won it's funny because they were talking about it when they won the Champions with me. Like, they're like, did he really play?
Yeah.
He played 2 games in the whole tournament.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that considered he took part in it.
Yeah.
So he won. I was like, but did he?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like we always have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, did he actually? He didn't play. Like, but yeah, he has 5.
Yeah.
Because I guess, okay, from the start of the tournament to the end. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You did 2 games. You know, so like anything, just in those things is like, I just feel, again, I think it's gonna shift something where the MLS has to realize to get the players, and I think that's possibly one of the proposals that they give.
Yeah.
Like, hey, there's not a lot of pressure on you. We want you to play your game. We're not going to crucify you out here. And, you know, because you don't have to.
Yeah.
You crucify yourself, and what the shit you do as domestic violence, you beat up someone, that's on you.
Yeah.
But we have to try to fix that because you're part of our organization.
Yeah.
And that's how you get fucking cut. Like, you're done because of shit like that. But if you're, like, wanting to golf and you're having something like we got to deal with this mental day, like, okay.
Yeah.
But the fans are like, oh, all right, well, we got these guys and we're still winning, or we got these guys and we're still losing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know. So again, I don't know how you've seen it, but I feel, and what I've seen so far, I think those players in that age group is gravitated towards the MLS because of that aspect. Meaning, like, well, I want everything in Europe before 30, by 30. All right, it's time to go to MLS and enjoy soccer and enjoy what I can play, as opposed to like, again, to a Cristiano where I still want this until I'm 40, and like Zlatan, same thing. Even Zlatan said it was a waste of time when I came over here, but I did what I did. Yeah, right. He said it because those type of old players are still in the hunt of like winning big things no matter what. Yeah, and they thrive off the fucking pressure. Those type of players. Yeah. But now you're talking about Lingard, players at that age where like they can't handle it anymore. I think in a sense like, I don't want to deal with that. I just want to play soccer. And if I'm going to go to a country where it's like, yeah, dude, just play soccer. Here, give me money. Show me money. Give me money. It's going to happen. I'm going to play here because of that, you know. And it just gives me the view of like MLS could, you know, capitalize in it and still, because I feel like there's going to be other names coming. Like I told Pam on her podcast. It's funny. I told her, she's like, who do you, like, she asked me, like, who do you think could come over? And I said Bale. Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, you called it. I was like, well, yeah, think about it. The guy has been crucified for the past 2 years because he wasn't playing. He was all about golf and all of a sudden he's amazing at Wales. Yeah, because he wants to go to the World Cup for the first time ever in that history of that country. Yeah. And he was able to do that. And you see, the thing is, like, he was praised from his country, but crucified in his club. Yeah. And I don't think he wants that anymore. And these players, it's not that it's like, oh, take it, it's life. Like I said earlier, like, it's life. I just think these certain players are realizing, okay, again, I did so much. Great. 5 Champions League. Yeah. Probably my only World Cup, obviously, because he's 32. Yeah. I think he's not going to say it, but that's what I felt when they're like, well, why LAFC or why the MLS? I think that's it. I think I won everything I could. I put my time in the highest level possible. Yeah. Where I'm coming to a country where they just want to see me play soccer and enjoy it. Yeah. Because, again, these fans were praising the guy just walking on the field. Same with Kalina. But Kalina's obviously 37. He did everything he could. Yeah. I mean, he's just a little older. But it's like these players, and I really think Lingard's going to come. He's going to sign soon by the end of the summer. I think so.
Unless I think West Ham doesn't.
West Ham wanted him, and I think Everton wanted him. Yeah. But that's up to the player of what they want and how they want their future. It's like, do I want to go to Europa or try to get to Champions Leagues again, or do I just want to play soccer and enjoy the accolades of here in America? Because again, what Pogba said, and the way I saw his documentary, Pogba was enjoying life in Miami. With Matuidi. Matuidi doesn't even fucking play that much anymore. Oh, yeah. And he's in Inter Miami. He's on the roster, and I'm like, dude, I haven't seen this guy fucking play.
I forgot.
I still haven't seen this guy play in a while since he got here.
there too?
Higuain's been playing. He's been up and down. Because you know Higuain's how Higuain is. Oh, yeah. He just gets mad of every fucking play that passes by him. He's like literally frustrated. Like, you didn't pass me the ball. Like, pass me the ball. Pass me the ball. But again, I think these players are realizing Matuidi, at the time he left, I won World Cup. Yeah. But what else do I need? I don't think he won Champions, though, because he was at PSG. No, he was at PSG. So it's like, I weigh my options, man. Just enjoy my time with my family and play soccer, and I'm getting paid a decent amount at the level I can afford life like this over here. It's like, all right, and stay away from the criticism that crucify you in Europe because it's fucking ridiculous over there. But I just feel like, I think that shift is going there after Bale. I think a lot of players obviously the last player was at Real Madrid or that high level obviously was Beckham, right? But again, Beckham was more towards the end of his career. It's like, all right, dude, you're just Beckham. Like, you left. Like, just come.
Well, he was at the same age as Wales as Bale.
32 when he came over?
Yeah, he was like around there. Because then he went back. Remember, he went back to Milan and then he went to PSG to finish off.
Yeah, for free. Yeah. But, you're right. I forgot. You're right.
It is known that English players after the age of 30 tend to fade out like very fast. Like Rooney did the same thing. Rooney went around the middle of like 30s also.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of players, especially the higher level English, Wales, North, that area right there, that between the ages of 30 and 35 for them, like that's pretty much it for them. I've noticed it because there was a lot of players. I had this conversation with someone I knew that like follow the English players, and they were England, and I was like, dude, I was like, why is this guy leaving? Like, he actually did good last year. He goes, dude, he's 31. He's already like, his legs are giving out. I'm like, what? I was like 31. I'm like, what?
Oh, but I mean, if you play X amount of years in the Premier League,
Yeah.
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
I kind of get
Yeah.
it. But if you go, like I said, like again, just real quick, like Cristiano, if you go from Chelsea or do you want to go to Munich? Well, Munich's gonna be less harder than Premier League. So I get it. I get it.
So
I
get that. Well, then I didn't get it, but now I kind of like I realized I was like,
Kinda.
oh, okay, I see it now. Because like, even like what's his name? So like he was doing well, and all of a sudden I haven't really seen him. Was like, I mean, he's not anything special, but Jordan Henderson at Liverpool, he was there for a very long time, and he's been playing. And then all of a sudden, like these last couple like this last season per se, he hasn't played as consistently, I guess, as he would probably like. But I was like, oh, he's English, and he's probably like in his 30s, so it's like, oh, okay. It happens to a lot of players. I mean, at least the English players that I've noticed, because I've noticed that more with most of those players, like Owen, all those. Well, Owen had a disaster of a knee, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I think these players, these European players, I think honestly the next one, after this season, after the World Cup season, I kid you not, at least 3 big names are going to come back to the MLS. I want to say Griezmann for sure, because he's won a World Cup.
Oh yeah.
He hasn't won Champions, and if he doesn't do anything with Athletic right now, I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s. I think obviously early 30. I think he would be the next big one after this coming year, which I think, because he didn't have a past 2 years since he left Barcelona. Even with Barcelona, obviously, he wasn't that great. But once he won the World Cup, I'm sure he's like, all right, I won a World Cup. You know, like what the fuck, like, you know. And he's the one that's always said too, I love the MLS. I love the American culture.
Yeah.
So for sure, I think he'll be coming after this season. So like what I'm saying, I think our players that we've grown up watching are going to finally come over here.
Yeah.
The ones that we've grown up in the past 10, 15 years, those guys that have stuck long in Europe, I feel they're finally going to come over here and just enjoy soccer without the pressures. And I think that's what sells them is the they don't want to say, I think that's what it is, because you look at, again, I said in the last podcast with Pam when we had her, I was like, American sports is redundant to me because of what we said from the comparison from world soccer to American sports. It's like, it's the same shit every year. Whoever wins it, great. No one gets regulated. Either you get cut because you're not good enough, but that team can be the Cleveland Browns for 10 years and still lose every year and still get money because people are going to watch because of the players that they bring in and whatever the case may be. And that's what I feel like the MLS is finally going to mold into. Yeah. But the difference here is that soccer plays the world no matter what. So MLS is going to play a CONCACAF Champions League. Yeah. They're going to play those type of tournaments where like, okay, let's see how far they can go. They could probably go all the way to the World Cup club, right? Like Seattle's about to do. Yeah. So those type of things is the difference between MLS and the other American sports that we don't, like I said, I don't really care for because it's the same shit every year. Yeah. You know, it's like, all right, well, how come the Cowboys this? Well, it's pretty much management. This is what happens. So don't keep asking me the same fucking question because you already know the answer. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck you want me to tell you? Like, they're not going to get regulated. The Cowboys are still in the league. Yeah. It's like, tell me when they're not in the league and I'll be like, holy shit, what the fuck happened? I'm going to watch. Yeah. I want them to come back. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, I'm starting to really believe that these players, again, I'm going to say this 1,000 times, they're reaching the 30s and it's like, they were able to win so much and they got so much where it's like, all right, MLS is a place, because even Bale said in the interview, it's a place to enjoy soccer and cool. I can help young guys experience and get better, and them going off to their clubs and explaining them how it is. Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those like teacher moments where like, all right, we got this teacher from Europe. He's amazing, Gareth Bale. Yeah. You know, so I just think that's what's going to be. As for the season and how this team, LAFC, is going to be, if they don't win 7-0 most games, 5-0, 3-0, something's wrong. Something has to be wrong. Now, that's because they're winning games right now.
Well, you have to remember now, you have a guy that's been there and basically made a stamp on this team to be his team, to basically saying there's a guy that's just like you but better and plays your position better. So now you got to deal with that and see how they go about with that, because Vela plays on the right and Bale plays on the right. So it's like, who do we sacrifice and say, hey, you actually got to go on your left side now, or you actually got to go up top now? And I think Vela is going to be the guy to sacrifice, because I don't see Bale playing as a top forward or on
striker?
the left.
Yeah.
I see him more probably on the
Just
right.
stay on the right.
So that's again a coach's decision on how they want to play it and how they want to go about it. And maybe if change of formation, they may have to even do where they kind of have them both on that right side, but one's a winger and the other one's a forward.
Like a
Like a 3-back, 3-5-2.
2 forwards.
2 forwards, and then you have the 5 middle, and then he's one of the wingers. And Vela doesn't run back, but Bale maybe will run back. I think he will. I don't see why he wouldn't.
We'll see when he comes because he's 32.
Yeah.
But
he's got World Cup coming up, so he actually has to kind of play.
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna play.
You know what I mean? Like
he's gonna put effort.
You know what I mean? Like he's got to put in the work
yeah.
to actually get ready for the World Cup. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Who
But
knows?
on that, still, I think the MLS is gonna. I think the MLS would exceed from this and capitalize, as opposed to past times where Henry and those type of players.
Yeah.
Gerard, what was his name?
Gerard?
Right?
Yeah.
Was that Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Roy Keane was there.
those type of that was a little bit more of like for sure retirement.
Yeah.
I feel like I said these players got enough time to put in the work to it, like at least give us more than just the retirement
Yeah.
type of play. Because again, we're thinking about the World Cup, those type of players. Even I just saw right now, it was so interesting. I saw the highlights. Achache, he's at Houston
Oh yeah, has he played?
yesterday.
I didn't see him.
I watched the highlights, and the way he played, I was like, obviously you can't do this at Atletico
Yeah.
because you're not the only star in Atletico.
Yeah.
You came off the bench.
Yeah.
But I was watching the highlights. This guy, I was like, I've never even seen him play like this. He's literally box to box, motivating his players. I was like, honestly, Mike, if you saw the highlights, you'd be like, yeah, I never saw him like this ever. Not even with Mexico.
Yeah.
So it was like, in a sense, like we gave you this team, help us.
Yeah.
Help me, help you.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of the sense of that game I was watching, the highlights.
Uh-huh.
And he did great. He built a chance for a goal.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So like I said, I just think most of these players at those ages are realizing now, like, if I can, I'm not saying make it in Europe. It's like, if I've done so much in Europe, MLS is showing me that I could play here, enjoy myself, and exceed my self-esteem in a sense of like, the fucking crowd loves me unless I personally do something so bad, like in any other sport, where they would hate me.
Yeah.
Again, LeBron can do no wrong until he fucking kills someone like blatantly, and even then, people are like, "No, he did it for self-defense reasons." Or something. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Over there, it's like, no, we want this. Again, with the continent thing, like, I'm sure they were hating him until I wasn't hating him, but until I knew that specific part of the other guy, I was like, whoa! I was like, hold on, who's at fault here? I think it's that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I can see why Continent did that, but you guys blew it up. It's like, oh my god, he lost control, this and that, and da da da. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like relax. That guy was asking for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's how I'm seeing it. I think MLS can do a little bit more to really impact the league, and I feel like it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be like that. You know, I have obviously watched the game, the Galaxy and LAFC, and I think it's going to come to a point where we're probably going to be talking about more and more because of our favorite players possibly coming over here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only reason why. But I don't feel like these players are taking vacation time over here. They're just understanding that I can enjoy soccer more freely.
Yeah. Hold on.
But yeah.
I actually have to answer this.
You have an answer to it?
I have to answer the call. Hold on. I have to call this. I have to answer this.
Oh, okay. Bella?
Yeah.
We're going to get Bella online.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Bella.
An exclusive.
Hi, love. What are you doing, love?
Hi.
What are you doing?
Whoa. I'm watching Pokemon Ever and I'm gonna go to sleep.
Are you gonna take a nap right now? Are you tired? Aww. Well, I heard you're gonna go watch the Thor movie later. Bella,
What?
are you gonna go watch the movie later?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna love it.
Hello?
You're gonna love it. I can't wait for you to see it and we could talk about it.
she tired?
She sounds so tired. Bella, go take a nap, love. I just wanted to see how your day was going and just tell you that I love you and I miss you. Okay. Go take a nap, okay? And I know we didn't get to talk much today. I don't know if you want to talk later. You can call later if you want. If not, it's fine. But go. Huh?
Yeah, when I wake up, I want to talk later.
Okay, then that's fine. I love you.
Love you.
And go take a nap and go enjoy the movie, and we'll talk later, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Love you.
Love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
She literally falling asleep. And I was like,
She is out. That was fun.
that was funny. An exclusive.
I know, right?
We had my goddaughter on there. She was literally falling asleep.
Yeah.
Literally, like,
It's usually around nap time now.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's usually nap time, afternoon.
Totally forgot what I was talking about.
Yeah. Sorry. I had to take that call.
okay.
I had to
I
take
know.
that call.
Anything for her, for sure.
Yeah.
MLS. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
And how things are shifting, how I view it.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say like whatever you feel, you think. I mean, obviously you don't watch it too much, but it's that right? Do you think it's like out there now? Like you think it's just popping in your face now? Like it's like,
I feel
or
like
do you see it's the same thing for you?
I feel like it's kind of the same thing. I don't feel like anything crazy has happened. I think it's still growing in the aspect of what I believed it's been growing as.
But as a perspective of these players though, like I said, again, I don't remember exactly the ages of all the players that came, but I feel like they're a little bit older. I don't know I forget how old Henry was, Gerard was.
I want to say they were all
different
between,
aspects.
I want to say they were all in their mid-30s, most of them.
Okay.
I would say on average, I would just say mid-30s. Yeah, because David Villa was here. Even what's his name?
Oh yeah, I forgot David Villa. But again,
Pato was here.
Pato's still here.
Oh, is he still there?
Yeah.
Nani was there.
And then he just finished.
Yeah, there's been a lot of players, but I would say a lot of them are mid-30s, and most of them, I think at that time, it's like, yeah, they're getting closer towards the end for most of them. I think the only one that really surprised me that was like continued on after was one would be Beckham, and the other one that really surprised me was Zlatan. When Zlatan came, I was like, okay, he's done, that was it. But again, Zlatan is a different mindset. So he actually was like, he even did more after. Like it was surprising a little bit. So, but yeah, I think it just seems the same. Like they haven't. How do I put it? It's no longer. I guess the players that are coming in are no longer like the players that were coming in before, that were like what they said, this is the retirement league. I think for most that are coming here, it's somewhat of retirement for them, but it's still like an aspect for them to play and still get a brand and a grand exposure in the aspect because of how Americanized commercialized stuff like kind of goes out there.
Yeah.
Like they really like flash and like show, when it comes to like somebody coming, they really roll out the red carpet for people, you know what I mean?
Like Bale.
Yeah, so like they really do that to those players. So it's like I wouldn't call it a retirement league. It just seems more as like, hey, you're coming in, but we're really gonna like we're gonna kiss your feet as you walk.
Would you agree? Sorry, I know what you're saying, but would you agree somewhat of the aspect that I said?
Yeah.
Of the pressure that's not really there?
Yeah, it's not really there. I'm agreeing with what you're saying in terms of like there's less pressure here. And I think with the likes of Wayne Rooney, Zlatan, now Bale, Vela, there's players since I would say since Henry, Gerard, Villa, Beckham. There was a moment in time when those guys were coming in. It seemed more like, yeah, I'm done here. This is where I'm gonna end. This is where I'm gonna stop. And then I think it changed when LAFC brought Vela in. When Vela came in, he was obviously younger and didn't seem like, we already know his aspect and his story, yeah. but he hasn't portrayed that when he plays. He still plays and he performs and he does well. Now the other guys that are coming in, those guys that are coming in now are kind of doing the same thing. They're not just coming in and being like, I'm just gonna take it easy. Like they're actually coming in and playing, as opposed to some like we can say like Higuain, Matuidi, like, but those guys were like
Chicha.
You know, Chicha's coming in. He's trying to play. And he's actually trying to do things. There's players that are coming in that are like not just coming in and thinking like, it's a vacation, I'm done. Like there's guys coming in that are actually going to try to play. So I just think there's like you said, less pressure for them here as opposed to over there, because in reality it's like they win, they lose. It's like, okay, well, we're happy to see you play. Thank you for showing up. You know,
It's literally what Ted Lasso said.
Win, tie, loss, like it's the easiest job in the world.
Like, why even do it?
Yeah, why even do
You're
it?
telling me
Yeah.
there's no playoffs? Again, like, right? Because like,
Well, there is a playoff, but I'm saying like,
but no, but like the way he said from the opposite, from American coming into a sport over there, it's like, so you're telling me for 8th place, we just stay 8th place, we're not going to the playoffs?
yeah,
Why do this?
Yeah.
And like, it's like win, lose, tie. It's like, what are we playing for?
Yeah.
But again, they don't know that because there's regulations.
Yeah.
There's all the other tournaments they could possibly win. That it's like a league. But over there, it's just the MLS Cup or the US Open Cup, which is not as big as it is yet, or the Shield, right? It's like
there's a lot of things that they
Right.
try to have here, but it's, again, there is very less.
but it's still Americanized. Like we've
Oh,
always
yeah.
said, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, if you're 8th place, you're gonna get into a playoff.
Yeah.
And if you win that game and keep going, great.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's an okay season for this team. And
Yeah.
they enjoyed it. They paid what they
Yeah.
paid for, and they enjoyed the season.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening. But even the players that are, like I said, the players that are still coming in, I think they're just finally coming in and having the aspect of, I'm coming here to play, just to play and just enjoy it. And if I can get an opportunity to go back, then I'll take it. If not, I'm enjoying myself here.
I think I get what you're saying. I think obviously I saw it too. Again with Ache.
Yeah.
Again, they asked him why too. They all say the same thing. Best for my family. It's the best project for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they sold me on this and that. I'm like, oh, okay. So again, the MLS is just. I think the MLS is having a better proposal for these type of players and trying to get them as much as possible when their full like contract is over in Europe. Like, again, prime example, Ache. Like, I would have thought he would have stayed somewhere in Europe, at least in Spain, Sevilla, or Villarreal, or somewhere in those type of teams in Europe.
Yeah.
But if the MLS comes in and swoops and say, hey, this is a proposal, this is what we have, and if they finally figure out how to communicate with these players to convince them, because again, Bale took a pay cut.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they convinced him on something like, look, you're going to take a pay cut because this is our cap.
Yeah.
You're going to be our highest paid player because that's the rule here. But understand this, and this is in your project so you can be here. And I'm sure he was like, oh, you're telling me I'm going to get less money. I'm going to get less pressure.
Yeah.
I'm going to live in a fucking mansion in Malibu probably or somewhere with my family. Like sunny every year.
Yeah.
Golf courses out here. Like there's golf courses. Like I'm sure he's like sold American.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, so it's again, I just think the MLS has been able to do their own research and finally like grasp something to get these players to understand differently. Again, it's a lot different from the era of like we said earlier. And I don't want to keep going in circles, but the Henry times and like those, like a lot of things have changed, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Bale has looked at that. It's like, like I'm coming to a country where I can still make the amount I made, but it's going to be off of, like we said earlier. Okay, social media. Like if you're telling me I'm only getting paid $3,000 a week, which is half of what I was getting at Madrid, because he was getting $6,000 a week, $600,000. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the other $300,000 come from social media and all these other accolades that the MLS is coming in with, saying, "Hey, you can work there, you can do this, you can do that.
Yeah.
We'll make sure you get those."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're telling me X type of soccer, I can golf too?
Yeah.
And get paid for golfing just to enjoy it here?
I'm pretty sure golfing.
I had to.
There's I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a golfing sponsor.
Callaway.
Easily.
You know what I'm saying? Bitches. Callaway. Oh, yeah. Where's that from? Step Brothers? You got so happy. That shit was hilarious. Shut up.
Oh, my God. I'm pretty sure they're going to strike a deal or do something.
Right?
Yeah,
So, again, that's I think the MLS is realizing that we can't give them the full pay just for soccer, but we can help you with this aspect that you possibly enjoy still as well.
You can be in the celebrity golf tournament.
There you go. You can be Stephen Curry, Michael Jordan. We can go with those people. Sold.
Yeah,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
pretty
Like,
sure that's what's gonna happen.
yeah, but it comes to a point where like, okay, I've done everything.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
You know,
yeah.
as opposed to like a Lingard. They're still 28, 29, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like that's the difference of those type of players. Like, okay, Lingard, do you want to still go for the highest level Champions League, or do you just want to play soccer
Yeah.
and enjoy those accolades? Again, I'm not hating on it because I still respect the ambition of like a Cristiano and those players that want to win things and just want to play the game of soccer to the highest level
Yeah.
and do those, as opposed to understanding where some of these player situations are at.
Yeah.
Again, I strongly believe Griezmann's going to be the next person after this next season, where he's probably looking at those things too. Like, I couldn't get champions.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to live with that.
Yeah.
But if I go to MLS and something happens and I come back like a Beckham and Zlatan, so be it.
Yeah.
You know, but I just think, I just personally think the MLS is finding better ways to get these guys at an age that are before mid-30s,
Yeah.
which is like better for the MLS because, like, okay, you guys can give us at least 2 years of good soccer, like really, really diving into it, like a Chicharito, like we said, really putting in that effort of like, all right, he's actually playing. He's not just going about the week of like, all right, it's just game week. Oh, that was easy. Like, no, like they're actually putting the product that we paid for.
Yeah.
You know, but again, not saying that Henry didn't do it like that. I'm just saying I just feel like these players are meshing enough with the proposals that the MLS is bringing to them.
Yeah.
And they're understanding it more and more to be like, all right, that's what the MLS is going to be. I feel like it's almost that same feeling I had when, again, obviously I didn't know anything, but somewhat the same feeling I had when Brody Campos was here the first year. Like, oh, all these players, like, cool, we get to see. But we had no understanding of what their circumstances was or how the pay was. Like, it was just like, oh, we get to see our stars that we're watching at these other leagues.
Yeah.
I kind of somewhat feel that way. If Bale comes and Griezmann comes and Pogba comes, it's going to feel like that. For me personally, somewhat like that. I'd be like, okay, we grew up watching these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, give us 2-3 years now at the MLS level.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's one thing too. It's like I told Ronaldo, I was like, dude, you could possibly play with Messi or Cristiano or Pogba in the future. Why? Because the guy we had on, Danny Trejo,
Yeah.
he's gonna play with Bale.
Yeah.
He's playing. He got a picture with Chiellini. He's trained with him.
Hold on, Bella's calling me back.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
You have another interruption with my goddaughter here.
Jesus. Hello.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, hi, Bella.
Can she hear me? Is she on speaker?
She's on speaker. She can hear you.
Is Chewy Wooly Bam?
No, I'm over here with your Nino Oscar.
What? Why is Chewy not the...
Well, because Chewy's at home.
You went to his house?
I went to your Nino Oscar's house.
And I need to tell you something funny.
Okay, tell me.
While was doing a silly dance and he was taking her butt.
What? Silly girl.
Oh my goodness. So is that where you get that from?
She's lying. I can tell her face.
Oh my goodness, Bella. You are being hilarious. I thought you were going to take a nap.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, what, for like 2 minutes?
That's it. That's a nap.
You took a 2-minute nap?
Yes, I did.
Oh
That
my.
Mom was doing a funny dance. I
She-
can tell she's...
That's funny. That's funny. You're hilarious.
The funny dance real quick.
Oh yeah? Oh my goodness. Okay, so what are you gonna do now? Are you guys gonna start heading out soon? Oh, you don't know?
Let's see. Let me see, brother.
Oh my goodness, Bella.
Let me see.
So are you done with taking your nap? No more nap time?
Yes,
Okay.
brother.
Oh my
Why? Because you
You
do the funny dance?
you sounded so sleepy earlier, and out of nowhere, you just like have a burst of energy.
That's kids.
Yeah.
I want that energy.
Yeah, you have a lot of energy, don't you? Wow. So, are you excited to go see the movie?
Yeah. Party! 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 Come on, say
Oh my goodness, Bella. Are you saying party?
because we're gonna see the movie Star.
Nice. You're gonna love it. You're gonna like it a lot. I can't wait for you to watch it, and we'll hopefully.
And because I like Pokemon better than Star.
I know, but you'll still like this movie. It's fun.
And I always
And what? So remember, when you go to movies, make sure you get a Slurpee, nachos, and I don't know what else we usually get, but there's always stuff we get.
Butter.
Did you say water? No, Slurpee.
No butter.
Oh, popcorn. That's right, popcorn. I forgot. Get your
With butter.
popcorn with butter. Yes, with butter and a Slurpee.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, make sure you get all those things, okay? So you can enjoy the movie.
Okay. And kisses. How dare you, Mom? I want to do funny dance with you.
You want to do the funny dance with her? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Here. You're funny.
Hey, I'm so Mom smacked my belly.
Oh, goodness. You silly girl. Okay, love. Go enjoy the rest of your day, okay? All right, love. Bella.
Jackson. Okay, so Jackson enjoyed it to my house yesterday, and then we had so much fun.
Uh-huh.
Kind of. Jackson was being a little booger.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he didn't sleep well,
Okay.
and he didn't sleep well, and he didn't take his medicine, and he's playing around with his sister, and she's like sleeping.
Uh-huh.
I feel, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, love. All right.
What do you do?
I'm hanging out here with your Tio Nino. Do you want to say hi to him?
Yeah.
Go ahead, say hi to him.
Hi, Goober.
What? Silly girl. Why are you being so silly? Why are you being so silly?
Because my mom's doing a funny dance right now.
Oh, okay. You can be so silly then.
She was doing a funny dance, and it was so silly.
Beyond silly. Too much fun. Just too much fun.
Just hold on. Stay online. She said later when I'm done calling the phone, and then.
Okay, I'm going to give you back to your dad. Love you.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
All right, love. Go enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
Okay.
Make sure you listen to... Hey, make sure you behave and you listen, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So,
And don't
I
forget...
need to tell you.
Oh, what? Quickly, what's up?
Okay. So, this
phone?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
My mom...
yeah. She's probably got to charge it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell her to get a new phone case.
Okay, yeah. You can do that.
That's my...
Make sure it's a Pokemon one.
Okay.
All right, love. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the movie. Have fun. Don't forget to get your popcorn and butter and your Slurpee, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Love you.
Miss you.
Miss you.
Have fun, okay?
Okay.
All right, talk to you.
I'm going to clock.
Okay. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay.
All right, love you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was 0 to 100 for sure.
Massively.
She was like,
Massively. What she sounded like to that moment, I'm like, what just happened?
She took a 2-minute nap and said, "Boom."
I'm surprised that she actually was like so sleepy and then woke up like that, because usually when she goes down, she's down and she's out. So
I mean, we can end it on that.
I can end on that. I'm good with that, man. I'm fine with that. That was awesome. I'm good with that.
My goddaughter just literally closured this episode today. So, who cares about what you guys are talking? I just want to know about these funny dances
Yeah.
and tell my dad.
Right.
Oh,
man, that was awesome.
That was hilarious. I love her for sure. But yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
I think we're good on the MLS talk. I'm sure there's gonna be more. I think that's where it's at.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the game.
Oh, that's right. Mikey's gonna actually go to his second game ever. Yeah.
No, third.
Oh, no, third. We went to the last one during the pandemic.
We went one
Last season.
Yeah, after
your
the
old
pandemic
team?
with my old team, and then we went one prior to that.
Literally right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was in March, and then like weeks later, everything was
Yeah.
closing. Like that was your first game ever.
Yeah.
With that free kick.
Yes.
Sporting Kansas at the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
It was like 3-3 or something.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was your first, and then the second game was right when they opened up again.
Yeah.
With your last team.
Yeah.
And
And then this one will be taking Bella to her first game,
then,
which I'm very excited about.
I think you have to go at least one time in the fan section, at least once.
I'll try that eventually.
I mean, obviously, maybe not with her, but I think.
I might even try it with her.
Oh, I mean, it's up to
she
you.
loves to be involved.
Which is fine.
Like, she's
the
in
only thing I
everybody.
didn't like, because I've been there a couple of times, and when it's changed, the only thing I don't like is, which is dumb, is they throw their drinks. You're gonna get wet.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's like-
I've seen that.
You spent $8 on this.
Yeah,
Why did you do that?
I saw that. The last game I saw that too. With
Yeah,
Dallas.
right?
They
Yeah.
were going third, throwing like. But I've always even thought that even prior, like not even just them, when other teams that do that, I'm like,
$8, bro.
that's not a cheap drink, man. I was like,
If you want it, give it to me.
Yeah.
I'll drink it.
yeah.
But I mean, it's a good experience to be in the
Yeah.
fans.
Oh,
the
yeah.
fan section for sure.
Yeah.
I would just suggest obviously get there way early because it's general.
Yeah.
So the first come first serve, you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the
yeah.
seats. But yeah, I think we'll finally get to see. Hopefully, I would say we get to see Bale and Chiellini playing
Yeah.
because it's going to be in August, right?
Yeah.
So about literally from a month
Yeah,
from now. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
For sure.
So we're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, guys. Always thanks for watching, listening. Please subscribe, like, share, and we're gonna hopefully keep going more. But again, Mikey has to be a dad.
Yeah.
Oh, and a coach. I forgot. He's a coach. I forgot. You know, I don't know what he really does when he's a coach. He's just like, you kick the ball, you pass it. I mean, I could be a coach.
That's what I do.
Let's hear. I could be a coach.
Stand there.
Just
Stand
do that.
There.
Block the ball.
Stand there.
Literally, that's what he does. God. But all right. Until next time.
All right, guys.
We're
Thanks
out.
again, man.
Late.
See you guys.